All right, good evening, everybody. This is Scott Diamond, along with my colleagues, Johnny Lee,
What's up?
Austin Diamond, and the illustrious madman from Furnace Mountain, J.R. Rock, right here as we are taking over. The Diamond Cartel is taking over the Nice Guy Andy podcast, and it will not be called the Nice Guy Andy podcast tonight. It will be called the Diamond Exchange with Scott Diamond, with special guest, the madman from Furnace Mountain, one of the original cartel members, J.R. Rock himself. Say hey to the people, J.R.
That's right, humanoids. J.R. Rock in the house.
Yes, sir. We got him. Also, we have the illustrious Austin Diamond, the reflection of perfection. Talk to the people, Austin.
That's right, you heard it here first. Still undefeated. You've got some great names at this table. You've got myself, J.R. Rock, the two-time Hall of Famer Scott Diamond, and the best member from the Nice Guy Andy podcast. We've got the man himself, Johnny Lee. Johnny, say something.
What's up, everybody?
So,
Diamond Exchange at the house.
so what's the deal, Johnny? Did the other two jabronis chicken out? They wasn't
Yeah.
man enough to come interview
Well,
J.R. Rock?
Andy had to get eye surgery, but there is one jabroni that was scared. Actually, yesterday, I heard him get scared because he heard that J.R. Rock was coming in the studio. He said, Johnny, do me a favor. When J.R. Rock comes, don't tell him that I said I was scared of him.
You don't have to tell me. I already knew. I already know.
Exactly.
They're all scared of J.R.
That's right.
Look, when you look across the ring, because I have been on the same side with J.R. Rock, and I have been across the ring from J.R. Rock. And, brother, I'm telling everybody out there, it's much better if you're on the same side with him. Now, Scott Diamond's not afraid of nothing, but I have been whipped like a dog by that big, long strap that J.R. Rock has. And so many people that don't have the intestinal fortitude of a J.R. Rock, as Austin Diamond, as a Johnny Lee or Scott Diamond, they are the ones, when they see that strap, they say, you know what? I'm calling in today. And that's what happened with Sean John. And Sean John, let me tell you, it's probably a good thing that you didn't come today, because J.R. Rock, you never know what's going to happen. And just one word from Scott Diamond, and well, you'd be back in the hospital.
That's true.
So he did the right thing, Johnny.
Yes,
but I'm
he
glad
did.
to see that Johnny Lee came in along again with the original cartel, J.R. Rock, Austin Diamond, and myself, and we have taken over this podcast. And again, when you folks call in tonight, definitely call in. What's the number, Johnny?
It is 859-684-9535.
Call in and talk to J.R. Rock, Scott Diamond, Austin Diamond, and Johnny Lee, because again, we have hijacked the studio, and tonight this will be the Diamond Exchange, baby.
Cartel
That's right.
Cast.
That's right.
Cartel Cast, as J.R. Rock has said.
That's right.
And again, he is the highlight tonight. I have been on many times. Everybody knows about Scott Diamond. But let's talk about J.R. Rock. 23 years in the business. He's on the retirement tour. And there's going to be a lot of people besides Sean John's going to be afraid this year, because J.R. Rock, there's nobody with better cardio. But with his retirement tour going on, he's turning it even up more. He's turning it 10 notches up. Tell him, JR. 23 years in the business, brother.
That's exactly right, Scott. When I retire, it's going to be the end of an era. I'm the last active wrestler in Kentucky that was trained by the legendary Danny Fargo.
That right there speaks volumes. I mean, that name alone, we're kind of having a round table here tonight. And with that, when you talk about people like the Fargos, my gosh, man, they deserve to be on any round table that anybody has, because they were a
Definitely.
cornerstone, especially in Kentucky wrestling.
Definitely.
And my family knew the Danny Fargo because I used to set rings for him.
Awesome. When he was in Mount Sterling or Georgetown?
Yep, Mount Sterling.
Estill Street Jubilee.
Yeah.
That's right.
And again, the Fargos, Dale Mann, Kentucky wrestling. Everybody talks about Tennessee, and they've had some great wrestling, down through the years. Certainly, some great names come out of the state of Tennessee. But Kentucky is overlooked sometimes.
Yeah.
We have had some great wrestlers come out of the state of Kentucky, without a doubt. Some of the best that have ever come into the
And you know
professional
what?
wrestling world.
This podcast here has opened up some eyes on Kentucky wrestling, because today we had cats from Philadelphia going, there's Kentucky wrestling? I didn't even know that they had Kentucky wrestling.
Hey,
And I told them, look no further tonight. The Diamond Exchange is on, and we might just be hearing from them. Bobby Rassels.
if anybody knows anything about Kentucky wrestling history, all you have to do is say ICW. And that's one of the greatest promotions in Kentucky wrestling history. Look at all the people it produced.
I still have a marquee, a small 3x5, I think it is, from IWA from the old days. So, of course, I wasn't on the card, but man, just to have a piece of that memorabilia,
Yeah, definitely.
something
And
else.
not only ICW, Jim Cornette from Louisville, still in Louisville.
Still in Louisville, yeah. I mean, Corny, he never gives me a break. He's always dogging on me, but one of the greatest managers to ever step into the ring, without
For
a
sure.
doubt.
Definitely for sure. I did a show with him probably 2011, 2012 for Scotty Ray down in Corbin. Jim was there doing play-by-play. I got to do a show with him.
You're not going to find a more knowledgeable guy. I don't care what state it is. And again, as you said, he's from Louisville. Another one of those guys that I was talking about that Kentucky's produced some great names. Jimmy Cornette, my goodness, man. Is there anybody that knows more about wrestling than him? I mean, he collects everything. He researches everything. I mean, Jim Cornette Collectibles, check them out. They're online. He's got a collectible store over there. Go check him out. I mean, he's got some great stuff. Very knowledgeable guy.
And got a great podcast, too.
Yes, he does.
hey, believe it or not, there's some people in the wrestling business in Kentucky who don't know who Jim Cornette is.
Then they need to get out of wrestling.
That's astonishing.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Then they need to get out of wrestling because if you do not know who Jim Cornette is, you're not a wrestler.
Exactly.
No,
not a wrestler.
not even close.
As he was saying, here's some great IWA action right here on the screen.
Yep.
I mean, poetry in motion right there. I mean, these guys were doing it before it was cool. If these guys would have had social media the way they have it nowadays, let me tell you, these guys would be living in a house like Vince McMahon,
That's
without
right.
a doubt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
This also where Macho Man Randy Savage got his cut at.
Yeah, him and his brother Lanny.
And Lanny, too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Rest in peace to both men.
What was it? The ICW, their father, I
Yeah,
think.
Angelo.
Did Angelo run that? Yeah. Again, in Kentucky. So, I mean, gosh, we could probably sit here all night, JR, and talk about all the great names that come out of Kentucky.
Well, Randy lived right here in Lexington.
Yeah, I used to see him all the time in Frisch's over there. Off Paris Pike right up here. Used to be on New Circle, close
Yeah.
to.
And my dad was in a prison cell with him because he was caught stealing steaks.
Oh, lovely.
That's way before he was a wrestler.
Randy Savage? That was Randy Savage?
Yep.
Shoplifting food. I've heard that story a couple times.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'll tell you one that a lot of people don't know, though. He was in the Cincinnati Reds farm team.
Yep, he was a catcher.
Yeah,
Giggity.
studied under Johnny Bench, really did. One of the greatest all-time catchers of all time. Johnny Bench, also one of the leaders in triples of all time for a catcher. But a lot of folks don't know that. Growing up in Northern Kentucky, I didn't get to see him play because he was on the farm team, and that was in Florida. But, we got to see a lot of Reds history, 75, 76 world champs. So for Randy Savage to be able to make it on that ball club, that just tells you not only was he a great wrestler, he had to be a great ball player in order to be on that baseball team.
Yeah, he
That's
just
right.
went back to wrestling because he had a knee issue.
I didn't know that part of it, yeah.
That's why he ended up going back to wrestling, working for Angelo.
And, I mean, the stars were aligned because look what we would have missed had he had stayed on a part of the Reds farm team. He'd have played baseball and we'd have got to see that, and I'm sure that was great. But we would have missed out on arguably, one of the most recognizable voices of all time in the world of professional
And
wrestling.
one of the best
Oh, yeah.
elbow
100%.
drops. that
One of my
ever be done.
favorites of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
He and Steamboat had a classic at WrestleMania 3
Yes,
that
they did.
everybody and their cousin should know about.
Yeah.
And guess what? We got Philadelphia watching right now. The All About Wrestling podcast.
Oh, right on.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, Philadelphia? It's
Philly?
been a while since I've been to Philly, but good time
Oh,
there.
yeah, here you go. Let me represent a Kansas City Chiefs shirt, Philly.
And just so you know,
Go ahead and throw that
this right here is Kentucky wrestling right here.
You better believe it. It doesn't get any better than what you're looking at right now, Philly. And if you guys want to come down, check it out. Come on down, be our guest. We're all over the state. We're up in northern Indiana. We're all over the place. You get on down here, tell us when you can get here, and brother, we'll show you some of the best wrestling that you've ever seen.
Yep.
And you can take that home to Philly. Then, hell, maybe we'll come up there and do some wrestling in your area and show them what it's all about.
The fair show's getting ready to start. Kentucky Fair Tour. They'll be wrestling 5-6 nights a week for the next 4 or 5 months, starting in May.
Yes, sir. And, a lot of people don't give wrestling the due, I think. I don't think they give us or just dues. But you come down here and you run 4 and 5 months, 4 or 5 nights a week, and you get in a car and drive 300 miles one way and then get in a car and drive another 300-400 miles, whatever it is. You come down here and run the fair circuit with us, and we'll show you how tough wrestling life and living out of a car and things it really is.
Exactly.
When you want to live this dream, Wrestling is not an easy dream to live. So if you want easy, you better go to knitting or golf or something like that, because wrestling is not easy. And you're looking at the best that Kentucky offers right here.
You got that
Then,
right.
now and forever. It's that simple.
When the fair
That's
tour
right.
starts, I'm usually doing shows for the fair Monday through Friday, and then I pick up whatever other shows, spot shows on Saturdays and Sundays if I don't have fair shows. So it's 7 to 9 shows a week.
And it's not easy. By far, it is not easy. And anyone that thinks wrestling is easy, I want to challenge you to do this. Run the ropes back and forth without stopping for 2 minutes. And if you can do that, come see me. 9 out of 10 people cannot do that. If you can't get through the cardio, and we're looking at the guy that's got the best cardio in wrestling business right here, JR Rock, by far. I've said it for years and years. But if you want to challenge wrestling, just get in there, run those damn ropes for 2 minutes. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 of you cannot do it. I've seen it.
Damn straight.
That's for sure.
And for people that think that's a trampoline that they're in,
It's hard.
My
Damn
knee would
straight.
beg to differ.
Trampoline. Tell them what that trampoline is like, JR Rock.
That trampoline is made of solid steel and wood. It's just like getting slammed on the concrete floor. It don't feel good.
No, and if you think it's a trampoline, or a lot of people say you got springs in the middle of it and all that kind of garbage, that's false. If you want to see what it feels like J.R. Rock just said, let somebody body slam you on the floor, on the concrete or something like that. And that's what it feels like when you get slammed in a wrestling ring. The difference is we have the intestinal fortitude and the drive to want to live this dream no matter how hard it is. And that's what separates the true wrestlers from those that can't hang it. If you can't get in there, you can't run the ropes, if you can't take the body slams and things, the hard hits on the floor, then this is not for you. It's not for you. So just go back into your mom's basement and watch what real wrestling is all about. Because as tough as it is, it's for us, and we've proven it. 23-year veteran right here, J.R. Rock.
That's right. I've wrestled guys and matches have been so rough I couldn't get out of bed and walk for 2 or 3 days after. I've been beat to death. I've been hit with steel shopping carts. I've been hit with fireballs. I've been hit with kendo sticks, chairs, canes, you name it. It's rough.
It is rough. And when we were talking earlier about, Johnny, you had some things on the screen there.
Yep.
Again, J.R. Rock and myself, we have been together on the roads for 12 or 13 years now. And talking about tough, look, we went and met a guy, waited for him to come out of his house because we knew he went to the gym every day.
That's right.
So we just knew if we would wait, sooner or later he was coming out to go to the gym. And without his knowledge, without him expecting it, because who thinks that they're going to come out of their house? Wrestling is Monday through Sunday, no doubt about it. But who expects just to come out of their house and get jumped just as soon as they come down their sidewalk? Nobody expects that. And that's why J.R. Rock and Scott Diamond, we went to this guy's house.
One step ahead.
That's right. I'm the smartest man in the wrestling business. And when the guy came out to go to the gym, well, J.R. Rock grabbed him, threw him on the top of the car, beat the daylights out of him, and then he DDTs him right through the front windshield, and the guy's laying in the front seat of the car, and, his day's over.
That's right.
It's lucky J.R. Rock could have put his entire career over had he wanted to, because once he put him through the windshield, the fella wasn't going to do anything at all. He was done. J.R. Rock could have taken his entire career away from him right there at that moment, but he
right.
just
Like
chose. Like that.
In an instant.
He just chose to make a point and show the guy, this is a guy you don't want to fool with, because I will come to your house, I'll come to your work, I'll come wherever I got to come. And now the guy, not only is he beat up and in a hospital, he don't have a car to drive to work because J.R. Rock put him through the front windshield.
And he found out firsthand what J.R. Rock is all about.
That's
There's a
exactly
reason
right.
that they call him the madman from Furnace Mountain.
Hey, and this may be my retirement tour, but let me go ahead and assure everybody, in the next coming years in the future, there will be another Rock in the ring. Little Luna Rock and Leather Strap will be filling those shoes.
You better believe it. Look, at the Diamond Bash, bless her heart, little Luna, she's out there. She's throwing up the Diamond Cartel symbol and things like that. Look, this little girl's only 4 years old, but she's already tough as nails. And I'm telling you, this one right here sitting to my left, and JR knows it, he's known him all his life. He, too, at around 4 years old, started cutting his first promos. And look at him now. And Luna is going to be right there with him. I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
You know what she had me doing before he came to the show tonight?
I'm afraid to ask.
She had me pile driving her. She said, give me a pile driver.
4 years old, she's paying her dues.
That's right.
She cannot help. I mean, just like Austin Diamond, she cannot help but to be tough. Look who her daddy is. One of the toughest guys in the wrestling business. So if she's training already, by the time she gets to be old enough to get her license in Kentucky, she's going to be better than JR Rock and myself ever thought about being. The same with Austin, you know.
100%.
He started early on. You know, he's been with JR Rock all his life and some of these other guys. We knew that he was going to do great things. And look, already 16 years old, undefeated, cuts a promo like nobody's business. And when you come up in a household, again, with a man like JR Rock or Scott Diamond, you cannot help. It's just like Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes coming up in a house with Dusty Rhodes. You knew that he was so great that they were going to be better than he ever thought about being because they were born into this business. And Luna and Austin, they also are going right down that path. They're going to be, and we were great, no doubt about it. We're still doing really well. But JR Rock and Scott Diamond, when we retire, and Luna and Austin Diamond, who's already got his start, come up, they're going to be better than we ever thought about being.
Hey, I feel sorry for all the women wrestlers out there because she's gonna wrestle just like Daddy.
That's right. She's going to have that 16-foot leather strap, and let me tell you, when you leave the ring, there's going to be 3 or 4 marks on your back that's going to take a week to get rid of.
That's right. Ain't nobody can touch Austin Diamond.
I'm going to take that personally.
My bad, brother. Austin Diamond. No one can touch Austin Diamond on the mic because right now, 16 years old, just imagine when he's 20. Imagine that. He's going to destroy anyone that gets that ring and tries to verbally outspar him.
Can't be done.
That's right.
He's already got several states under his belt. So, I mean, he's got a good start again.
And he's already undefeated, too.
Yes. I mean, actually, he lost one match, but he didn't get pinned. It's just, you know, he's my son, and I got a little excited. The guy was doing some things in there, so it made me mad, so I got in there and I started wailing on him with my cane and, you know, feeding him the diamond, and, you know, they disqualified us. So he lost, but,
you know, it's really not fair to say that I lost per se because I, for one, I don't feel like I lost. If anything, I did the opposite. You know, I was in the newspaper. 400 people in the horrible city of Man, West Virginia absolutely adored me. I would argue that I won.
Well, he didn't get pinned, let's just say that.
Exactly. So he's still undefeated.
That's exactly
the only
right.
thing that counts as loss is if he got his shoulders pinned to the mat or he submitted, and he did not submit when he did not get pinned.
I've never had an opponent subdue me.
Well, if that's
for
the
count of
case,
3.
there's a whole lot of matches I've never lost. I mean, even though they said I'd lost, but I didn't get pinned.
That's right. That's right.
Right. It happened.
And I was the one that walked down the ring, not the other guy.
I was going to say, you know, JR Rock, you say that, but even a few of those that where we did not get the Duke, if we did not get the Duke, the guy still got beat up, let me tell you. You know, and we've been in the ring with some big guys. You know, you don't get no bigger than Rob Terry. You know who beat him up? JR Rock and Scott Diamond.
That's right.
We beat him up.
I saw it firsthand.
That's right. So, I mean, it don't matter how big you are. We're not afraid. You know, we went out through the years, and like JR said, we may not always got the win, but we really never got beat.
That's right.
Johnny, real quick, for those at home, what's that phone number again?
It is 859-684-9535.
Come on, call in, jabronis. You know
That's
I
right.
want to hear some questions.
Is that correct?
Yep, 9535.
Let's see here. Pass my phone over here. I want to share this. Get it
That's
out
right.
there.
Let's
It's,
call in, talk
behind
to
the
JR
monitor
Rock,
there.
23-year veteran.
Well,
He is on
thank
his
you,
retirement
Andy.
tour.
Thank you very much.
Scott Diamond hosting the Diamond Exchange, first time in years, and I couldn't pick a better guest than JR Rock. Again, 23 years in the business. JR, tell the fans some of your highlights. I mean, I know right off the bat you're going to be. Look, I'm privileged that we've had these great years together, but I know your greatest attribute has been always you and I working together, and the folks know that, the fans know that. But tell them some of the other great things that you've done.
A lot of people don't know that at several companies I've helped promote and book and run shows. I was one of the partners for New Origins Wrestling when it was running.
It had a great run for 3 or 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, we had a TV Roku deal.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff got copied that we did. We had a big painted ring canvas. Then a couple years later, another company had a little tiny painted ring canvas. We had our own rapping intro music. Then a few years later, another company had their own rapping intro music.
Yeah.
We were pioneers, I guess you could say.
Oh, certainly, without a doubt. And like Johnny's pulled this up, and this is another thing that, you know, we pioneered. There was not a lot of folks that would have male and female wrestlers that would get in there and tear it up together. You know, you had male wrestlers against male wrestlers. You had female wrestlers against female wrestlers. But like this footage here, you know, JR Rock, Amazing Maria, and Scott Diamond come out to the ring. Let me tell you, when we would get in a fight, she would stand there toe-to-toe and fight with us.
That's right.
That's for sure.
I mean,
We did some mixed tag matches. Me and her against Fozo.
Fozo
Mrs.
Fury.
Burgundy,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. I think didn't you all wrestle Burgundy and the Zodiac as well?
Mm-hmm. We sure did.
I thought you had
Me and Roxy started a mixed tag match against Ronnie Roberts and Maria in Tennessee. Me and Haley Shadows did a mixed tag match. I've done a couple of mixed tag matches in the past few years.
And again, I think the great the phrase that you coined here that fills it great is that we were pioneers for a lot of things here in Kentucky. You know, we brought in some things that folks hadn't seen. And again, I think that was due to some of the great upbringing that we had. Like you said, the Fargos and things like that, you know,
Yeah.
that we came up with. They had some great ideas that never really, some of them did not come to fruition. But we took those ideas and we brought them to the forefront, you know, because
definitely.
at those times it wasn't acceptable to have women and some of the things that we were doing into the ring. But we took those ideals of yesterday and we made them come true as a part of the cartel. You know, you and Maria right here in the ring in Georgetown, Kentucky for UWF.
That's right.
A lot of great nights right there. Let me tell you. I mean,
Look at a competitor making his way to ringside. Do you recognize that face by chance?
Looks like Bubba Lamb.
is that who it is?
Yep.
That's exactly.
That's Bubba Lane.
Is that Sean Renfro in the ring?
Yes, it is.
Now,
best,
look,
best referee in Kentucky wrestling history.
I was getting ready to say, folks, that's another thing that they don't give credit a lot of times to is the referee. And a referee, wrestling, I always say, is a big puzzle, you know, and every piece of the puzzle is valuable. And the referee is certainly one of those valuable pieces. And not a lot of folks really give credit to the referees. They just, everybody that comes into the business wants to be a wrestler. But I'm telling you, if you can find a referee like Sean Renfro, brother, you better hang on to him because you have something. The referee is the liaison between the people and the wrestlers, and when you got a good one, you better stick with him because there's not a whole lot of good ones out there.
I can tell you a little history on Sean Renfro if you'd like.
Certainly.
He started referee training for HCW when Daryl Fugit was running that company. And the head trainer for that company was me.
Oh, God.
I'm the one that trained Sean Renfro. So he made it through my training to become a referee.
That speaks volumes then of how his character came about because, again, you and I both, you know, we've been all over the country. We've worked with a lot of referees, and there's not many that are as good as Sean Renfro. It's just the way it is. And, you know, I'm sad that we lost him. You know, as we grow, sometimes we grow apart from the wrestling business, and he had other things on his agenda. But there was a guy that really knew. Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. Look, Amazing Maria, and let me tell you, she's on that guy like flies on sugar. Look at her.
When
Gonna beat his ass.
when Sean was doing his training, he started with 3 or 4 guys that were doing wrestling training. He had to train with the wrestlers for a month, the first month of his training, to learn everything they were learning. Then he got to branch off and do the referee training.
After the first month, he could have done anything. Because if he made it through the first month, you know, because that's another thing, JR. I don't know how much you've seen us on here, but we've talked a lot about trainers, you know, as you brought up the Fargos, and how some of the great talent didn't even really see the talent in themselves. It was the trainers that seen the talent in them. You know, some of the wrestlers that were training gave up on themselves, you know, because the training is so hard.
Flair and Vern Gagne.
Flair and Vern Gagne, yeah. You know, Flair said, you know what, I had enough of that.
That's what everybody I train says.
You know, yeah, they had enough of that. But see, here, Sean Renfro, he might have thought that. I'm sure he did that first month. You know, like when I went into the Marine Corps at first, I was like, what in the hell did I get myself in for? You know, this is tough. But if he made it through that first month, like I said, coming up tough the way that we did and then training those guys the same way, you know, they could take anything and they could survive anything. Because we've both, again, been around and we've seen bodybuilders come in. We've seen weightlifters come in, all this other stuff. You know, these track stars. And, you know, we had one guy, I can't remember his name. He was over here at the university, not university, but Kentucky State, T-Bone something. But he was the head guy. He ran the marching band, whatever the person is with the baton. I don't recall at the time.
Conductor?
The conductor. And so all these folks, you know, they thought because they had college athleticism, if you will, that they could come in and they just get into wrestling and it would be easy peasy. I was trying to remember the one guy that came down there. He was a bodybuilder. They were calling him the Great Nate or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But he lasts 2 days. And when it came to learning how to bump, if you will, quote unquote, he couldn't hang. Like so many other athletes that come into the wrestling business. I played football, I can hang. Well, no, you can't.
I played football in high school. I skateboarded. I've been an athlete my whole life. There's a difference in being in athletic shape and being in wrestling shape.
Oh God, yeah.
100%.
Oh, God.
100%. And I think that's the thing, JR, that a lot of folks don't understand. They think because they have some athleticism to them that they can come into the sport of professional wrestling. We are the only sport that doesn't have any off days.
That's exactly right. I watch all these sports shows, and they're like, oh, this guy's hurt, this guy's hurt. And all I say is, these guys are pussies. I'm out here wrestling 365, can't hardly walk, can't sleep because I hurt so bad. I still got to go to a show the next night.
That's right.
Right on. We still get up, we lace our boots, we go out, and we do our thing. Because it's if it's not a passion and a desire from within, they're not going to succeed. And you're looking at two guys right here.
And Diego said, well. I have my wrestling father, Scott Diamond, and my wrestling brother, Austin Diamond.
Well, Diego, he's making some.
I know that cat.
Yeah, he came in. J.R. Rock was a part of. He came in and was training with us at KEPW, and of course, J.R. Rock was he came in and helped train folks and stuff at KEPW and stuff. And doggone, unfortunately, during his training, KEPW had sold, and so he didn't get a full training that he needs. But the thing that I love about him is he's not giving up. Even though that company that he signed with sold, he's still reaching out to people like myself, J.R. Rock, giving us credit, asking us for pointers, wanting to be better. And I'll take a guy who don't know anything that wants to be better over a guy that comes in and says, I'm a muscle-bound football, weightlifter, whatever, and I know it all.
You damn right.
Because those guys, they don't know shit.
And they don't last long.
And they don't last long.
And they're the ones that will be pussies the first time that they take a bump.
You got that right.
And while we're divvying out acknowledgments, my man Nick Depp sent 500 stars acknowledging the Diamond Cartel.
And not only
Nick, baby.
he
That's
said
what
the
I'm
Diamond
talking about.
motherfucking cartel.
Hell yeah. Thank you for the stars.
Much love to my man Nick.
We had Nick down at New Orleans one night wrestling Ryan Dukey on the show.
Good old Ryan Dukey. There's a name from the past.
Hold up, I can have one of them call in.
Remember a gnarly casket match that almost came to fruition.
Yeah.
Well, now that was with Ryan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ryan, Nick, and was it Fiji?
I think so.
Fiji Wildman, yeah.
Hey, if you want to have a show shut down, just promote a match between me and Ryan Dukey. Okay?
Yeah.
This is a true story, right?
Woo!
I was out there doing a beatdown, and Dukey came and stuck his nose in my business. We're going to collide head-to-head. As XSW with Scotty Ray, company closed down.
Wow.
He comes to New Orleans. I'm out there laying down a beat down. He stuck his nose in my business. We're going to go head to head. Company closed down.
They're afraid. That's one matchup that, it cannot be sanctioned here in Kentucky. We're sanctioned by the Athletic Commission. And that's just a match that they know. They cannot sanction that. So they have to put pressure on those companies, and they shut them down, not once but twice. So it was not a fluke.
They said, this is not going to happen. We're not allowing it.
Maybe Kentucky's not the problem. I'm sure we could make that happen.
Exactly.
Anybody know of anything going on March 4th? Maybe we could find somebody to do something.
Well, there are great shows going on March 4th. We get that match happening.
I'm sure there's something going on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Tell us about it, Scott.
Well, Diego says it's nice to see you again there, J. Rock. He misses you. And I see Mrs. Rock also, Jennifer, one of the best bakers. And I pride myself as being a good baker.
Jenny Rock on the block.
But Jenny Rock is saying, hey, what's up, fellas? We want to say hi to her. Thank you for all the great food over the years. My God, let me tell you, I have eaten this girl's food right off of the ground.
Shoot.
Yeah, that's a shoot. J.R. Rock and we had a meeting over at this park one day, and we were trying to get a unified company going, and so she baked for us. Oh my God! And because we J.R. and I both were part of these meetings, we didn't get to the food as quick as everybody else.
I had to cook. I was running the grill.
So you were on the grill, yeah. And so JR is cooking the meat is what it was, and Jenny had brought this, oh my God. She brought this orange juice cake that I'd jump out of a car at 90 mile an hour just for a piece of it. And so, true story. Jenny, I love your cooking. I love you too, man. But so when she had saved a piece for J.R. Rock because he was on the grill. And so JR's got, I think he had a couple of hot dogs and a piece of that orange juice cake. And I said, JR, we go way back, brother. That's the last piece. You got to share with me. You're going home with the lovely lady. I'm not going home with her. I need some of that cake. And so he when I went to reach for it, he jerked his plate out of the way so quick that the hot dog and the cake fell on the ground. And we're both just looking at each other and looking on the ground at this cake. It's like, I can't believe you just let that fall on the ground. That's a wonderful piece of cake. And then finally I said, I don't care. I'm eating it anyway. So I picked the cake up off of a dirt cake and all. That's how good it is. Jenny, thank you for watching. I know your old man is out here and you wouldn't be anywhere but in front of the tube watching. But I want to thank you again for all that great food over the years, gal.
Not to interrupt. We've got a great interruption here from a Hall of Famer, the Lone Wolf Bobby Blade.
Bobby, always good to see you, man.
At him, I had one of my favorite matches with JR. I was the SXW champion, and SXW had become a corrupt promotion. JR challenged me to a strap match for the title and also the integrity of the company. If I won, I remained champion, and the corrupt SXW would continue. And if JR won, he would become champ, and the company would come under new ownership.
So everybody out there, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and send us a message. If you're watching on Facebook, send a message. Austin Diamond is there. And J.R. Rock, I want to ask you, touch on this thing that he was just telling us about, Bobby Blade.
Booby Blade. I've known him for a long, long, long time. The entire time I've been in the business, I've known Booby. I tried to steal his stupid Mickey Mouse ears from Disneyland during that little...
Those are prized possessions of his.
Yeah, I had them, but then... got him back. The dirty dog got him back.
Now, it's important to note that had JR won, the company would have been relabeled the UWF. And long story short, too late. JR won, became the new champ, the company got new owners, but the roof came off when the ref hit the 3 count, and he will forever remember that particular pop.
Exactly right. I remember Bobby Blade slapped the taste out of my mouth. My ear was ringing for days. I know that for damn sure.
I was saying that when Bobby and I were in here. Let me set this down here. A lot of folks don't know that side of Bobby like you and I do. He's a great guy, and he's quiet. But, brother, when he gets angry, he gets in a ring into a match, he's totally the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
He's a 180-degree turn. Bobby Blade can be a vicious guy when he needs to be.
That's for sure.
He's got this great facade. He comes over, like a guy you want to go to church with and stuff.
Borderline timid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, borderline timid, as you said, Austin. But you get him in the ring, and let me tell you, and J.R. Rock, again, talking about this situation here, he's living proof. He can tell you. You folks out there that didn't see Bobby Blade in the ring, you didn't see the other side of Bobby Blade.
You're never going to see a more vicious Bobby Blade than when you see Simba. That's all I'm saying, Bobby. That's all I'm saying, brother. Simba was pretty terrific, and you know what I'm saying, Bobby.
The war stripes, baby. Bobby, don't call me Simba Blade.
That's right. Also, he gave 100% whenever he was out there.
He did every night. Bobby gave it all.
The match was Zodiac.
Cut a promo like no
Johnson.
other.
Yeah, and I mean, great on the stick.
There's a good New Origins highlight on there of a 8-man steel cage match. You can type in New Origins Wrestling if you want to look that up later.
Oh, I will.
Eric Montgomery, he's out there. Easy E, what's going on, brother?
And Marcus Fine says, hello.
Yeah, my good friend Marcus Fine. Sorry I'm not going to see you this weekend, Marcus. The promoter and I just could not agree on some things. And, look, I just want to go out here right now and tell everybody, the promoter and I, we did not have words. He just wanted something that I couldn't deliver this particular thing that he was looking for. And so, a lot of people got on the thread yesterday and was hating on him and things like that. We don't have any heat. He made a business decision, and it's his choice to make. And, of course, anytime you take Austin and Scott Diamond out of your card, that's not a very good business decision. But nevertheless, we don't have heat, and everybody's kind of getting on his case and stuff. I have no heat with the gentleman. He was very professional, and, he made a business choice, and we're just not going to be able to be there this weekend. But, maybe he'll have us in it another day once he sees this outcry for so many people that's wanting to see us up there. And, heck, if he's watching this right here, he's going to want to bring J.R. Rock up there as well. So, don't hate on him too bad. Just go and tell him that, you'd like to see J.R. Rock, Austin Diamond, Scott Diamond up there. And, you're a little disappointed that we got canceled for this Saturday, but maybe we can get up there at a later date.
Yeah, it sucks that happened.
Is this the newest rendition of the cartel? Is this what we're doing now?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm telling you what, when you got one of the toughest SOBs as a veteran, one of the toughest veterans out there, J.R. Rock, and one of the biggest upstarts, Austin Diamond, I'm telling you, you could not have a better tag team than that, especially when you're talking about Scott Diamond on the outside.
Hey, we're watching this old Bobby Wade video. I've got a video of me wrestling probably 2004, 2005 at the original PTW in Georgetown Convention Center. Bobby,
Who is this?
This is the Doomsday Pro Wrestling Commissioner Michael Ramone calling in tonight.
Oh.
Michael Ramone. Good evening, young man.
Yeah, I had a free minute. I was watching the show. I heard Scott talking, Austin talking. We got a big show coming up on April 22nd. But there's a couple of burning questions that all the Doomsday fans have. And I've heard some rumors.
Michael, let me give you a little word to the wise, young man. Never put faith in a rumor. Hell, you can't even believe half the things that you see, much less anything that you hear.
If I may build on that, Michael, you say you have a free minute. I do not. My time is precious. I don't appreciate you coming up here unannounced.
Now, wait a minute, Austin. Wait a minute.
Hey, no, I'm with Austin. My minutes are money. So you have to cut to the chase, Slick. What's these rumors you've heard? Put it on the table.
Okay, I'll lay it all out there for you. The rumor is, and this has come from somebody said to be close to the Diamond camp. You there with JR?
Yes,
is he Austin's partner?
Is J.R. Rock going to be Austin's partner? We were just saying, Michael, that would be one great tag team because you've got a veteran like no other in J.R. Rock right here, one of the toughest guys ever come down the pike. And then you have a young rookie like Austin Diamond who's undefeated, and he came up. This is something that a lot of folks don't understand. Austin is as good as he is because he came up with men like J.R. Rock, his dad, Scott Diamond. He came up with Frank the Tank. When you have an uncle like J.R. Rock and you have an uncle like Frank the Tank and you're born into this business, you cannot help but to be good. And that was the benefit that Austin had. His uncle J.R., his uncle Frank, they, along with myself, we have taught him since he was able to walk about professional wrestling. And so why would it not be? I think it would be money, money, money for anyone to put J.R. Rock and Austin Diamond together, especially when you add Scott Diamond on the outside, the greatest mind in professional wrestling. But before I answer anything about rumors, I think since it concerns J.R. Rock, we ought to pass it over to him and let him speak on that.
So everybody wants to know if the rumors are true. Well, you damn right the rumors are true. And when I get up to Evansville, brutal country, J.R. Rock's coming to lay down a beat down on you and anybody else that gets in the cartel's way.
The BMWO, the Black Mountain World Order. I'm shaking in my boots. I can see it. J.R. Rock is trembling, and the truth of the matter is this. I could come up there with my dad. I could come up there with Johnny Lee, J.R. Rock. I could go up there by myself on crutches again. And you saw what I did the last time I was up there. What makes you think for 1 second when I go up there with the baddest man in professional wrestling today that I will not bulldoze your entire roster?
Michael Ramone, let me give you one that has been in the Diamond Cartel camp for a long time, and this catchphrase came for a reason. With J.R. Rock coming into the fold again, he's never left the Diamond Cartel, but when he comes in and he sees his nephew up there and he needs a little hand, he was happy to jump on board, brother. And so now then, here's what I'm saying to you. Now then, business has just picked up. You seen what happened the fight before Christmas. Jimmy Lamb went to the hospital. J.R. Rock coming on scene, brother, the whole damned audience and the roster may go to the hospital.
Austin touched on it, talking about the Black Mountain World Order. There ain't but one mountain you boys need to be worried about, and that's Furnace Mountain, because that's where the madman's from. That's where I'm coming from, and that's where I'm laying a beat down from.
So, Michael, you've done your homework. I commend you on that.
I've done my homework. I've listened to the rumors, and I hate to cut you off, but I just want to go ahead and I want to make it official. right here while you guys are on the podcast. It will be Austin Diamond and J.R. Rock versus Big Country Levi Motionless on April 22nd at Chaos Rising. Boys, you better bring the fight. I only said I had a free minute. I had to clear these rumors up, and I am damn sure glad that I did because, JR, you worked the main event of the first show I was on. I'm going to be happy to see you again, but I know not to trust you and to watch my back because, well, I learned that last time, didn't I, Scott?
Yes, you did. And again, I'll say this, young man. You came to the Diamond Bash. You paid your respects. I appreciate that. The thing between you and I was disrespected. And because I was disrespected, you just happened to be the guy that was standing there. It was not personal. It was only business. And, brother, I respect what you're trying to do up there as the commissioner, but I will give you a little advice. When the Diamond Cartel comes in, you do your job, you speak to us, and you speak to us with all the respect in the world, or you may get beat up again. As long as you do your job and you stay out of our way, you won't have no problem with the Diamond Cartel. But anybody that steps in that ring, I want to give them this warning. Brutal Country, I'm talking to you. You step in that ring, it belongs to us. And I don't care if you're Brutal Country. I don't care if you're selling tickets. I don't care if you're somebody's mom in the third row. If she comes out of the audience and she steps in that ring, we're putting her ass in an ambulance and she's going to the hospital too. So now then, you've seen what the illustrious two-time Hall of Famer Scott Diamond done along with Austin. What do you think, Michael Ramone, is going to happen when I bring the madman from Furnace Mountain, the guy with the best cardio in the professional wrestling business, J.R. Rock? How do you think that's going to affect the explosion that happened at the night before Christmas, the fight before Christmas? At Chaos Rising, it's Chaos is sitting at this table right now, and his name's J.R. Rock.
It's the name. It's in the name.
Hey, I'll go ahead and tell you now. I've seen Jimmy Lamb on your show. I beat him. I've seen Simply Rick on your show. I beat him. I've seen Chris Noble on your show. I beat him. I've seen Bubba Lamb on your show. I beat him. And guess what, Brutal Country? I'm going to beat the hell out of you, too.
Now we got Philadelphia
Things are,
enjoying this.
I can't wait for a second. I got to dip out, guys.
Thank
But-
God.
I can't see you there.
that.
It's going to be one hell of a
I
show.
appreciate this.
Everybody,
that you have to dip
don't
out.
forget to come out. April 22nd, Chaos Rising.
DPW. Let's get it right here. DPW, Austin Diamond, J.R. Rock. We just gave an exclusive right here on the Diamond Exchange. Austin Diamond, J.R. Rock. We're coming to the arena April 22nd, Doomsday Pro Wrestling and Brutal Country. Pay your insurance because, brother, nobody will ever see you again. We're going to bury your ass.
Damn straight.
You know, I have one small grievance here. Every time we're in here, there's just something a little off, and I really don't appreciate it. You come at it with tact. You're speaking the attitude of gratitude. I personally don't feel very nice. I don't like Michael Ramone. I don't like anybody in the state of Indiana. What an astonishing revelation, JR. He saw us sitting at the same table. Is it possible that we could be in cahoots?
Who would have guessed?
Exactly.
He finally put down the glue he was sniffing
Hey,
and pieced it together.
if he had any sense or brain, he would look at the history of the Diamond Cartel and say, who's on their roster? Who's on the stable? Who's on the roster? It all says J.R. Rock, J.R. Rock, J.R. Rock.
It could be anybody.
That's right.
J.R. Rock was one of the founding members, and he has been there from day one. If he was ever on the road and he needed something, he called Scott Diamond, I was there. If I was on the road and I needed something like DPW and I needed a tag partner for Austin, he is there. Don't ever think because you may not see us every day together that J.R. Rock, Austin Diamond, and Scott Diamond, brother, we're family. And whenever family needs somebody, we're there. If you don't believe it, go watch Next to Kin because that talks all about us. When we need somebody, when we call him, Austin's uncle's there. I'm there. And we will come with all full force to beat somebody's brains out. And I'm telling you, April 22nd, DPW, you're not going to know what's hit you because when J.R. Rock steps into the ring, brother, Scott Diamond's going to take a chair and sit back, and I'm just going to watch.
Now let's go ahead and address some of our people that are watching at home. One of our number one fans. Everybody loves Andrew Dude Browning. And Andrew's got a question. Who's Brutal Country? Well, Andrew, you're asking the same question that we are.
That's exactly right. Who is Brutal Country think they are to step to the cartel? That's all I want to know. I saw little Levi Motionless. You think you got a chance against me? I don't think so.
We watched him grow up. He's another one that
Wow.
we watched grow up in the audience.
We got callers coming in. We got a caller online right now, and a caller trying to call in right now.
All right. Well,
Who's on the line?
Who's on the line?
My wrestling father and brother.
Diego. And your Uncle JR is right here. And brother,
Uncle JR.
What's up, brother?
You see, these are legends that I have been privileged to see when I first stepped into KPW. When I saw them wrestle, it was legendary to watch. And when I look back at the fight before Christmas, when they came out with Trinity and they took out Jimmy Lamb within an inch of his life and took out that little son of his and those two little perros that they want to call Brutal Country. Man, I can watch that over and over. And when Scott Diamond hit Michael Ramon in the head, like he said, it wasn't nothing personal. It's just business. And to be honest, I thank Scott Diamond for those kind words, because even though the company was sold, I still never gave up my dream. And I took everything that Scott Diamond, J.R. Rock, and Austin Diamond have taught me to heart. To any company I go to, I take his wisdom, all of their wisdom, with me. And when I see the Diamond Cartel, J.R. Rock, destroy, no, not destroy, end Brutal Country, Trinity will be coming out and giving you the most applause, the well-deserved respect you deserve. Because when you come into DPW and you're faced with the Diamond Cartel or J.R. Rock, it's not just another wrestling match. No.
We're not
This is
coming
going
to
to be
wrestle.
a fight.
We're coming to beat somebody up. And as long as the checks keep coming from Trinity, we'll keep knocking people out. So you keep those checks coming. I know you, Simply Rick, are on that stable there. And look, we have no beef with you guys whatsoever. You paid us to come out and take out Jimmy Lamb. We did that. Well, Brutal Country's getting in the way. If anybody, I don't care if it's Brutal Country, who it is, anybody's got a problem, you come to Scott Diamond, you give me the money, and J.R. Rock and Austin Diamond will take care, and you won't have no more problem.
Get him straight.
Amen to that. And I hope Michael Ramon is listening. Michael Ramon, I am not a good man that you think I am. I am not being led on the wrong path that you think I am walking. When Simply Rick came to me, he showed me the simple truth. He showed me where to walk, how to talk. And now that we have your ex-friend, Chris Noble, you're heartbroken. So
J.R.
say
Rock and
something.
Scott Diamond trained him. We know him very well.
Hold up.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
John Strange.
That's right. Don't lay that garbage bag at my feet. You lay that on John Strange.
I trained him in his promos, and John Strange trained him in the ring. So he knows us very well. And again, J.R. Rock has beat the snot out of him before. It's not going to be any different if he gets in the way. But again, I know he's a part of Trinity, and as long as Trinity keeps those checks coming to Scott Diamond, they won't have any problem. You keep giving us the list of who is on your list, whatever problem you got, you pay us, and you won't have no problems no more.
I have another special
Well, there's one more
announcement.
thing I wanted to say before I get off here.
Go ahead, brother.
Scott Diamond, you
Yes.
owe me a scarf.
What scarf?
I think Austin is repping that scarf tonight, actually.
You damn straight.
I think you had better try again.
Yeah, that's one thing I got to say about Diego, and again, I said earlier, he didn't give up his dream. He kept on after the company sold. He kept reaching out to us for training, more and more training to learn more and more. But there's one thing that every kid that has ever trained with Scott Diamond knows. When you come out and look like the part. You come out, you look good. And that's one thing that Diego has taken away from his training with Scott Diamond. When he comes to the arena, he's dressed to the nines. Believe it. But, JR, there was something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, Michael Jabrone didn't mention this earlier because he may not know. But
He got a little nervous.
He did. I did a little freelancing on the cartel's behalf, and a guy that I know, and you know him too, he's supposed to be at the show on the 22nd of April.
Uh-oh.
It's a guy by the name of the Nippler.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes.
He will be at the arena.
Austin actually beat him up the last time we were over there. And I know you know a lot about this guy.
Yeah.
Not the nippler. I have never stepped foot in the ring with
It was a
nippler.
Zippler. It was a Zippler.
That's right. The nipple and the zipper.
Oh,
It's close
God.
friends, but
No,
they will both be in
Zippler-
the house. The nippler and the zippler.
Oh, my
Let me
goodness.
tell you something. Speaking of the Zippler and Bonehead, the reason why I don't talk about them much is because I know I'm going to win my DPW Tri-State title. I know because when I win this will be the first title that I've ever won in my whole wrestling career that I've started. And let me tell you something, Bonehead and Zippler, if you're out there, quit hiding. Quit hiding. Because let me tell you something, I could probably take your wives from you, amigos.
Are they going to? Is it going to
Bonehead-
be a triple threat? Is that the way it is?
Yeah.
Dio's going to be a
It
triple threat.
is.
The nippler and the zippler used to be tag team partners.
Yes, they were very close at one time, the Nippler and the Zippler. So it's going to be exciting to see them both in the house. You know, the Zippler is not as he's not got the status that the Nippler has. You know, he's not as good. Let's say he's not been around as long. But to have both of them in the arena at the same time, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I
Let's
really
just say, unfortunately, I had my little contact with the Nippler at the last KPW show. Good Lord, my butt still hurts.
oh, so he got you with that plunger. You know, the Nippler, he carries that
Yes,
plunger.
he
Man.
did.
Hey, look, he knows how to use that plunger too, doesn't he?
Unfortunately, I guess he used to be
Yeah.
a mechanic.
He might have been. He was checking the oil, you know. Actually, at the Diamond Bash, you know, he and I were the last two in the $1,000 Battle Royal. And, you know, it just happened that we saw Andre coming down the steps, or at least I thought it was. And when the Nippler looked, I took advantage there, and I went ahead and flipped him over. Because he wasn't paying me no mind. He was looking for Andre the Giant. So the Nippler will be in the house on April 22nd, though. So I look forward to seeing that.
And I still got to get you back for eliminating me first, you.
You know, I was fired up. It was nothing personal again. I knew it was. I knew it was going to be my last wrestling match, so I was fired up, and I was just ready to do whatever I could do.
Andy said, "Talk
Well,
to Mike."
well, let me tell you something.
No problem.
Like I was telling the Nice Guy Indie podcast. When I left on that day, when you guys took me home, I actually cried because like seeing KPW for one last time and seeing Scott in that ring one last time took me back to like I watched my friend's podcast when I used to do security for them, and you know, being a part of KPW is something special. Because I remember when I first came into KPW show, I went right up to our old pal Nick, and I said, "Hey, here's the money. I want to train. I don't care how long it takes, just train me." So I remember all that. I remember the good times that we always had in KPW. And it was not just Scott or Austin that trained me, it was also our good friend Omega
Yeah.
that trained me also.
Who will also be
And let me
in
tell you
here.
something. His clothesline, I swear, every time I see him do a clothesline at any show it feels like a semi hit you.
Wait till April 22nd, and you see J.R. Rock run through some people. Diego, you're going to see. Look, the Diamond Cartel's been around a long time, and the reason being is because we had great talent. And when you look across this table like I am at J.R. Rock, that tells you why the Diamond Cartel is still a force to be reckoned with. And come April the 22nd, Doomsday, you know, they didn't see anything like what happened when Scott Diamond, Austin Diamond came in December. And, brother, they have still never seen anything like when J.R. Rock comes and hits the house on April 22nd. I guarantee it.
That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. April 22nd, you will see the Trinity dominate. You will see J.R. Rock and the Cartel dominate. And Holmes, it's going to be it's going to be so many girls. Shut up, you idiot! Shut up! Shut up! Sorry, I got to go deal with this. You guys have a wonderful day. Hey, that's right, Holmes. Shut it!
Right on, right on.
He's fighting with himself.
JR, you know, we've got so many great stories like Bobby and I had when we were in here, and we've been talking about those. But some of the folks, you know, they want to know what fires up J.R. Rock. You know, what gives him that desire, that drive, that burn, that feeling to go out there and do the things that he does.
Just the passion for the business, Scott. A lot of people don't know, but I started as a backyard wrestler in the late 90s before I got into the professional wrestling business. I grew up watching wrestling. I just fell in love with it, and I'm still in love with it now.
It shows when you're in the ring. Again, I speak all the time of the desire and stuff that you have. And myself, I can see that every time he gets in the ring, same as I see with you. And, for the folks that, again, as we spoke earlier, that think that this is easy and this is just something they want to do because it's a dream, you got to pay the price, and you got to love it. Like you said, you're loving it, and that's what keeps us going.
I do love it, but I have paid the price. My body feels the price. I've got bad ankle, bad knee, bad hip, bad back, bad neck, bad shoulder, bad body.
It definitely takes a toll on the body, and a lot of folks will say, excuse me, they see injuries in wrestling, and, they always ask me, I know your body hurts all the time, but is there an injury that in your career that stands out for you?
Yeah, there's one, probably the worst injury I had. About middle way down my back, I had a partially crushed vertebrae. That's probably the worst one. And then broke my hand once punching somebody.
Yeah, imagine that. He broke his hand punching somebody, Austin. Can you imagine that? I mean, J.R. Rock punching somebody?
No, I can't imagine that. No, nothing like that. No.
But those are the only two major ones.
Speaking of which, we got someone online.
All right, who's on the line, Johnny?
Who is this?
Diamonds are forever, Scott Diamond.
Hey, diamonds are forever, baby.
Easy E, your favorite DJ.
What's going on, Easy E? I hadn't seen you in a little while, brother. I miss you.
I miss you too. I'm still recovering from surgery, and
oh yeah, last week. Yeah, earlier this week, wasn't it?
February 8th.
Wasn't it?
February 8th was my surgery date, and I'm not recovered yet, and it sucks. Like I was going to come see you this weekend at the show, but you're not there. I'm not there.
Amen, brother. And again, I tried to say earlier that I don't have no beef with the promoter. It was a business decision. He was very professional. Yeah. And, I just don't think anytime that you take Scott Diamond or Austin Diamond off a card, I don't think it's a very good business decision. But I don't have any heat with him. I know a lot of you, yourself and a lot of the folks expressed that they would have liked to have seen Scott Diamond. I got a lot of messages after they seen that I wasn't going to be there. And I appreciate the fans, without a doubt. And I appreciate
Don't they understand the Diamond Cartel runs the arena? It's the Diamond Arena.
It is the Diamond Arena. You know how many guys can say that Tony comes in and invites you up to the office, for some scotch. But every time Scott Diamond's there, we go up and we have, our scotch or whatever. And the arena has a lot of history of the cartel. We've done many things in that building, and they should rename it to the Diamond Arena because I said, the cartel, J.R. Rock, myself, Big Frank, Austin, we've all had a lot of history in that building, without a doubt.
Sure did. I was there for some of that stuff too. I know if you ever need a DJ for the Diamond Cartel, I know a guy.
Hey man, you've always been the cartel DJ, without a doubt. Easy.
I have still yet to come out to my music. I'm just saying.
That's right.
Yeah, we went to West Virginia and Austin wrestled over there twice, and both times they gave him somebody else's music.
See, I would never do that. As almost 20 years in this business, I would never do it to the Diamond Cartel. You know better. You got to have their music on point. I still got the Diamond Cartel music right now.
Well, and they want to know, when they make these mistakes, Eazy-E, they want to know how come J.R. Rock and Scott Diamond and goes up and they punch him in the face. Well, when you don't play the right music or you announce us in the wrong manner, you've disrespected us.
Yeah.
We are veterans, both of us, Hall of Famers. We deserve the respect of what we've done for this business. Whether you like us or not, you should respect what we've done for this business. And so when you do something like play the wrong music, call us by the wrong thing, or say the wrong thing, ask us if wrestling's fake, hey, we just go right into David Schultz mode and we just start whipping people's ass. So as long as you don't disrespect
Jammers
us,
Riot 101.
Hey, yeah, I caused 2 riots over there in Jammers. That's it.
Last time I was in Jammers, I beat Cack and Jack to death.
Yeah, I mean, wow, those were some times. We had a lot of good times in Indiana. We pull up in the limo. We got a TV deal off of that night, and then you ended up with the cops coming and wanting to arrest 400 people. So it was a good night. Anytime the cartel can go out and create a riot, it's a good night. And we've created at least 6 that I can count on.
Damn straight.
I put a comment earlier where I was like, I would love to get my wrestling brothers and sisters help because with me off work and recovering, like there's no funds. Like I'm basically almost broke, and I hate to say that. And I was like, and I've done everything for this business. It's like, man, I could love to get some help back from the boys and the girls, like to help me. I don't care if it's like having a donation bucket at a show, whatever. It sucks to work.
We've always taken care of each other in reputable, and this is the key word right here, JR. I mean, you know what? You and I have talked about it many times. The key here is reputable companies, reputable promoters.
Yeah.
These are the people that will go out and take care of their brothers and sisters. JR and myself have donated our money many times, have drove to Tennessee and donated our money many times, all over the country. Drove all over the country for no money because we donated our money to a cause to help a brother or sister out. And if you get around reputable companies that you've worked with over there, and it's a shame, Eazy-E, but when you need a little helping hand, that's when you really find out who is reputable and who is not.
I found out already, and it hurts. I was like, I've done so much for everybody, but now I'm down. I'm going back to work because I just had 3 surgeries. I'm hardcore for that. That's what they already told me. It's like I would love to get the help from anybody. I've got a GoFundMe, I've got a Cash App. It's like, hey, I never ask for help. That's the one thing I've never asked for anybody help. I'm the one that helps.
Every once in a while, we all need a hand up for sure.
Yeah. I know you're having a show on the 22nd. Just to get a little heads up, people that want to come to the show that night, they might want to take a detour because Thunder over Louisville is that night, so 2nd Street Bridge will be closed until Sunday.
What's going on in Louisville that night?
Thunder over Louisville.
Oh, Thunder over Louisville that weekend.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the last time I ever dined and dashed when I went to Thunder over Louisville.
So if people going to that show that night might want to take a different way. 65 until they close 65 down, then you have to go to Sherman Minton Bridge and take the long way to the arena.
Yeah, that new bridge is going to be open, though. Is that correct? You just got to pay like $4, $8, or whatever it is?
Yeah, either way, 65 south or north, but at 9:30, that's when they shut the bridges down, the 65 bridges, because of the fireworks. And they don't open those bridges back up until like 11:30.
Oh, hell. We just might have to stay in the bar longer.
That's the best place.
JR Rock is straight edge. I don't want to pull that on JR Rock. He's straight edge.
I feel you. I'm trying to get a call in. Much love to you, Scott. I want to finally meet your son. And JR Rock, I've worked a couple shows with him, and I'm afraid of him still.
We were just talking about that, Eazy-E. Even a couple of guys that Johnny had that works on the podcast with him on a regular basis, when they heard JR Rock was coming in and Austin and I were taking over, we were going to have the Diamond Exchange instead of the Nice Guy Andy podcast tonight. A few of them got scared off because they know, look, there's only been 2 enforcers ever for the Diamond Cartel, and that's been Frank the Tank and JR Rock. And JR Rock is here with us tonight, so amazingly, nobody showed up because they were scared too. So don't think you're the only one, brother. Don't think you're the only one.
I've earned a bit of a reputation over the past 23 years.
A little bit.
That's the rumor going around anyway.
Eazy-E, it doesn't have anything to do with that 16-foot leather strap that he has, does it?
No, well,
I think it's more the strap than me.
Yeah, I've heard he can hit you hard with that strap, and it's not trying to get hit.
No, I haven't heard any young bucks, any young lions say anything about that.
But until I call in, much love to y'all. I'm gonna relax and get ready for some doctor shit tomorrow.
All right, Eazy-E, we wish you the best. Thank you for calling in. We're celebrating JR's retirement tour. Always good to talk to you, and we hope you get to feeling better.
Always. Much love, bro.
Take care.
Always, brother.
Yep.
Let me give you a quick story about some of these young guns and that leather strap real quick, all right?
Tell the people what it's about, JR.
I'm over at WCCW working for Santa, Nicholasville on his last little run. I'm working Frankie Swamp Tower. Frankie's back there strutting around like a peacock. Well, I can no-sell that strap if that guy hits me with that. That ain't no problem.
Really?
Da-da-da-da-da. I'm just over here minding my business. We go out, match starts. Beat down, beat down, beat down. Out comes the strap. Frankie Swamp Tower's laying on the floor crying like a girl.
That's what it gets.
These young kids, and Frankie Swamp Tower, he's a young man making his way up in this business. But, there's one thing these young guys got to learn. And, of course, I'm omitting Austin here because he grew up in this business with us and he already knows
Plus,
this.
he knows his stuff.
That's exactly right because we've trained him hard. Ask him; he's thrown up training as well because when you train under J.R. Rock, Scott Diamond, we're bringing the kitchen sink. But this young man, Frankie Swamp Tire, and these other young people, they need to understand: do not ever disrespect a vet by saying you can take his stuff in the back. By saying in the back, he disrespected you, like we had one guy say about Vic. When it comes to these vets, you watch your P's and Q's and you be very respectful because if you don't, you're going to learn what Frankie learned that evening. You're going to be able to take it whether you want it or not because J.R. Rock and myself, we're not going to let you leave the ring area until we do what we want to do, and that is to teach you a little bit of respect. And I think Frankie Swamp Tire, he learned a little respect that night for
Learned a
J.R.
lot of
Rock.
respect that night. That's for
He
sure.
deserved to learn respect because he shouldn't be saying, "Oh, I'm going to no-so this shit."
Yeah, he was laying there crying, and the referee's like, "You're crying like a bitch."
He deserved it. Shouldn't have been saying that he's going to no-so that shit.
Talking about my infamous trash can, which, by the way, Bobby Doss, you should have gotten me. That's neither here nor there. Let's share a story. I had mentioned this on Facebook. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on a podcast. I actually, in heart to heart, not looking at the camera, looking at you, I owe you a lot for this. You may or may not even remember this. I think about it at least once a week. It was a training session. For those of you who don't know, I was not always 190 pounds of raw muscle and sex appeal. In fact, by the age of 12 or 13 or so, I was in fact 205 pounds, about 5'9", give or take. I was very out of shape, just as real as it could be. We had a training session. I was in there, I was out of there, into there, out of there. And J.R. Rock asked me, he said, "Are you training or not? I see you in there. I see you out of there. I see you in there. What are you doing?" And I was like, "I guess not." And he was like, "Why?" I said, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm in horrible shape. I'm not good enough. And his quote that resonates, that rings in my ears to this day is, "This is how you get good enough." And that legitimately stuck with me. And I think about that a lot, and I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome. That's the truth. You get back what you put into this business. You got to put the time in to get good at this business. And that's what none of these young guys want to do that today. They want to come in, they want to train twice and say, "Give me a belt." That ain't how it works.
Damn straight that.
There was actually there was a fella in Indiana that I worked with a little bit. Great guy. But when he first started, I asked him, I said, he was asking me some pointers on promos and things. And so when I got to talking to him about it, I said, "Well, how long have you been in the business? How long have you been training?" He said 6 months. I said, "Okay, well, 6 months, that's not very long, so you still got a whole lot to learn and way to go." And so as I talked to this young man, I said, "Well, who do you train with and where you been training at for these last 6 months?" And his answer to me was, "We do one show a month. The guys who were training do one show a month. And so I train for an hour before each show." And I said, "So you have 6 hours of training, not 6 months of training." Exactly. He said, "Well, no, I've been training 6 months." And I said, "But you've only trained 1 hour a month each month, correct?" And he said, "Yeah, but it's still 6 months." And no, JR, and you were making the point earlier with the Swamp Tower deal. These cats got to learn. It's not about putting in 6 hours. It's not about putting in 6 days. It's about doing something wrestling related every day.
When I was doing my training under Danny Fargo, we did a weekly show in Mount Sterling. The show started at 6 or 7 o'clock. I had to be at the building by noon, sweeping, setting up the chairs, setting up the ring, doing training for at least 3 to 4 hours, doing security for the show, being a gopher for the show. After the show's over, tear down the ring, tear down the chairs, sweep and clean up. That's 1 day of training.
Yep.
I did that for 8.5 months before I ever sniffed a wrestling ring.
And I think that's something that, we don't see anymore because they're not hard on them. I mean, there's still some that are hard on them, but there's not enough that came up like we did to keep that tradition alive because the ratio, you're having more high spot people as opposed to the down-to-earth grappling, wrestling Memphis style that we were brought up on.
Yeah, and now it's like, "Oh, I'm here to be a wrestler. I'm going to wrestle." That's not how you brought in. You start out as a trainee, then you get to do security, then you get to referee, then you may manage, then you get to be a wrestler.
Yeah, again, you're right on the money. A lot of these cats today, they want to come in and they don't want to break down the ring. They don't want to help put up the chairs. They know nothing about paying dues. They think paying dues is training, and that has nothing to do with paying dues.
No.
That's your training.
That's right.
You know, paying the dues is like you said. You know, we swept the floor, we mopped the floor. I've sold tickets. True story. I've cleaned toilets.
Yep.
You know, whatever
I've
the
done that.
promoter wanted us to do, that's what we done. And these cats today, they just want to come in and just train, which is great. I'm glad because there's so many that do not train. But they just want to train, and then after they train, like you said, a couple of weeks, they want to get a match. Well, brother, you're not ready for a match. I mean, hell, it's sometimes, like you said, 8 months or a year before you get to there because you're building that base, that foundation. And I think that's some of the things that are missing today. They're not getting the foundation that we got as far as, you know, putting in the work that is behind the scenes, you know, the work that doesn't have anything to do with being in the ring.
Yeah.
And I hope that's something that we can change, because if we don't, when you and I said back, you know, you're retiring next year, and I just retired this year from in-ring work, which don't mean that we'll be away from wrestling, because I know J.R. Rock's got so much knowledge. Even though he gets out of the wrestling part of it, he'll still be a part of it like I am. But I hope that enough of us stick around to where we can bring people up like Austin. You know, and he was just saying he pays homage to his uncle J.R. for some encouraging words. Hopefully, there's enough of us that when we do retire, we can outnumber the show ponies, so to speak.
I hope so, but I don't think there is. But, hey, my little girl already pays dues. After the bash, she was putting chairs away.
I seen her. Little Luna, man, I love her to death. J.R. Rock sends me a thing, a little video over one day, and, you know, I've known Luna all of her life, the same as J.R.'s know Austin. And so sends me this cute little video, you know, Uncle Diamond sucks. But then when I go out to the arena and do my last match, bless her heart, she's right there with the Diamond Cartel symbol, you know. She is going to be a force to reckon with, without a doubt.
You know, talking about the love of the business, you know, he was just saying bad ankle, bad knee, bad body, bad everything, bad haircut. That's neither here nor there. You know, when the sun goes down and the day is over, I take the jacket off. I'm empty-handed with a pocket full of dead presidents. I've made no money off of this whatsoever. Austin Diamond still rides in style. That's neither here nor there. But I've got nothing physical to show for it except for a destroyed knee that bothers me almost a year later. But I've got memories that are second to none. I've got footage that will last me a lifetime. I have memories that I can pass on to the further Diamond descendants. And that's something that you just can't buy.
You can't.
Damn straight.
Hey, Scott, let me ask you about this video that's playing on the screen right here. That's me and the Weasel, John Strange.
Yes,
now,
it is.
Tell me a little story about a promo when me and him were tag teaming in Georgetown.
Okay, so here's the deal. You know, J.R. Rock and John Strange, they were known as the Dysfunctional Family. You know, good tag team, held many tag titles and things of this nature. And Johnny Lee has up on the monitor here, we're watching the Dysfunctional Family come into the ring. And this particular event, Scott Diamond was the ring announcer. And a great night. And there's Ken Tuck. Yeah.
This isn't the night it happened because Sean Renfro was the referee that night. But
you're right. So there was these four women at the table there. There was these four women at the see them two guys in the back row there in Georgetown?
Yep.
They came to the DPW event where Austin and I was at.
Oh, wow.
That's those guys that was sitting, like when you come out the curtain, they were sitting on the left there. Those two guys, Michael Liam, and I can't remember the other young cat's name, but they came to Jeffersonville, Indiana to see the cartel when Austin and I went over there in December. So that holds a lot of weight. When you say the Diamond Cartel and you got people driving, you know, different states to follow them, that's heavy. That's heavy duty. But getting back, JR and John, that were the dysfunctional family, and
Put the fun in dysfunctional. Come on now.
that's
That's
exactly right. They put the fun in dysfunctional. And so for this particular company, Scott Diamond was ring announcing, and there was these 4 women sitting over to the side, and they despised J.R. Rock and John Strange. And so they started talking some trash and whatnot, which we love that. We don't care. And so as they were talking, the JR steps over to me, Johnny, and he says, "Can you understand what they're saying?" And I said, I don't understand hillbilly. I really don't know what the heck they're saying. And J.R. Rock says, "Well, let me listen to them a minute, and then I will tell you." That's not the word I'm looking for. Translate what they're saying.
Yeah, I was a translator.
It was a translator, and so I said, and this was before Stone Cold had it popular. What? What? People wasn't saying that yet, and so I look over at these 4 women and I said, "What? What?" And of course they kept giving John and JR a lot of grief. And then so finally I turned around, I go to JR and I said, "Did you get enough? Can you tell me what they said?" And he went, "Yeah, that's the 4 horse faces. This is what they said." Oh my gosh, I thought I would die.
That's
It was
accurate.
one of the funniest things ever in the ring. And here we're trying to get ready right before a match, and I'm nowhere near ready to announce anybody for a match because I'm just laughing my butt off, But JR's a great translator. If you don't get what he's saying when he's talking to you, that leather strap will get it across.
That's
That
right.
leather strap right
Right
there.
there.
That's
Right
the one.
That one right there.
That's also the one that Johnny Suede found himself strapped to, and he's beating the shit out of Johnny
Who's that
Suede.
young guy? That guy looks familiar.
That's
Oh,
Buck.
Nick Vickers.
That's Buckshot Nick Vickers.
Yeah,
right there.
Buckshot. I was trying to think. The tobacco swilling, spitting. J.R. Rock beat him so bad, he sent him into bodybuilding.
That's right.
I'm not gonna lie. When the sun goes down at night, I miss Hollywood Nick Vegas.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a nice young man. He came in, he trained with us for a while, and he was doing pretty all right. He had a somewhat of a future if he'd have stuck with it, but he got out and doing the family man thing, and he got 2 daughters, raising his daughters, and went on into bodybuilding because that was easier than wrestling.
Well, if he'd been raising them right, he'd had them on the road at the shows with him.
Amen. Not everybody can hang with it though, JR. You already know.
That's true.
You already know.
Yeah.
And we helped set up rings. We've set up New South Ring. We've helped set up another ring. And we may also be coming down to help out set up Elite Wrestling Alliance's ring when it starts up April 8th. People should be ready for that.
Chris Ware has chimed in. Scott Diamond needs to tell the story of filming a movie and getting
Real cops
having
called.
the real cops called.
DJ Hootie Hoo, we'll get to that in just a second.
Because we got someone calling in.
Well, and before we will, if they just well, hold on one second. My niece is saying Luna said hi to Daddy. So our baby girl, your baby girl, is on there saying hi there, JR Rock, and Uncle Diamond wants to say hi, Luna. I love you, baby. All right, you say we got somebody on the
Yep.
horn there wanting to speak to JR Rock?
Andrew Du Browning, you're up.
What?
What up, dude? We got the
Diamond's
madman
on-
over here. We got the madman over here, JR Rock, man. I know you got a lot of stories about JR Rock.
Yeah, I mean, everybody used to call it skirt man.
Now, I told you time and time again, Andrew, that is a warrior's kilt.
Oh, but diamonds are forever. I can tell you that much.
You already know it, brother. Diamonds are forever. Drew's got his Diamond Car T-shirts over the years. He's come out and supported JR Rock and Scott Diamond. And you know what, JR, I don't know if you noticed it the last time I seen him. You and I have been on him for years because he always wore that hat backwards. He's finally got his hat turned the right way.
I saw that. I did see that.
Finally. How many years did we have to tell him, turn that hat around
At least 10.
and stop cheering Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah.
Dude, how's it going? You got any questions for JR Rock tonight? Right there, look at this guy. This
That is
guy
vicious.
there's the cardio that I was talking about, JR Rock. He hit that guy so many times he had to take a vacation and come back for the last 2 hits. I'm telling you what, this guy right now don't know where he's at. And that's all in about 15 seconds. He hit him about 1,600 times.
Yep.
And not only am I beating the stuffing out of him, I'm talking trash to him and all the brain dead idiots around ringside at the same time.
Everybody around ringside, their brain cells was a Polish 6-pack. They only had 4. And
Exactly.
JR Rock was telling them all about it.
That's exactly
They're a
right.
bunch of hillbilly hicks.
But I'm sorry, dude. We got away from it there. We seen this great footage on the monitor here. You got some questions for J.R. Rock? You've been around a long time. You know him really well.
Oh, yeah. What's up, J.R. Rock?
What's up?
Not much. The next time you come to my coffee shop, Scott Dominique, buy you something.
I'll tell you what, dude. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Friday. I got to go to my mother's. I promise you I will get there one day this coming week.
Yeah, I got you.
We'll sit down and have us an espresso with some scotch. You guys serve scotch and coffee over there?
No.
I'll bring the scotch.
That's right.
Veteran moves from J.R. Rock.
Did you see how he outsmarted him right there, Johnny Lee?
Yep. That's what you call ring awareness right there.
That's right.
There's a smudge on the lens.
What's up, Austin?
What's good, brother? How you doing?
I've been pretty good. I had a few drinks earlier, so.
Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. Oh.
What's one of the best memories you got about J.R. Rock there, Andrew?
Hey, they're all great. They're all great, Scott. All right, go ahead and get that out of the way right now. Every one of them.
Oh.
That was a setup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like I said, they're all great, so.
Yeah, Andrew D. Browning, for those that don't know, he's a young man, too, that J.R. Rock and I watched grow up, at ringside.
That
And,
knee lift hurt real bad.
I saw it. It
doggone,
hurt me.
we're so glad that you supported us over the years.
I still support you all the way, too.
Yeah, coming to shows in Georgetown and Frankfurt, all over the place to watch us wrestle.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's Austin Diamond.
That's right.
Yeah. Is this tonight Jim Chadwick sing happy birthday to you?
I don't know.
My wrestling daddy, Jim Chadwick.
Yeah.
Well,
JR's wrestling
okay.
daddy, JR, tell them a little bit about your career with Jim Chadwick. And for those that don't know Jim Chadwick,
The gentleman.
Well, as you know, there was a couple of jabronis that just tried to start a gentleman's club a few years ago. I was in the original gentleman's club with Jim Chadwick. I wasn't a founding member, but I was a member when he was still around. He managed me a lot when I wrestled at MWA. A lot of people don't know I wrestled there. Appalachian Pro, all over Eastern Kentucky. Jim managed me quite a bit when I was wrestling in that area.
For the folks that don't know Jim Chadwick, of course you and I do, and just tell them a little bit about your connection and who Jim Chadwick was to this area, because he was an icon.
Oh, he's a legend in Kentucky wrestling as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
My connection is when I was doing the backyard wrestling in the late 90s, he worked with the mother of one of my friends that backyard wrestled. He said, hey, your boy, she was telling about the boys, like, oh, they love to wrestle and this and that. He said, well, you send them on down to me, and I'll introduce them to Danny Fargo. If they really want to do it, I'll help them get in the business, and that's how Jim helped me get in the business.
There you go. Without gentleman Jim Chadwick and a lot of folks, the older guys, the vets like myself that's been on, Bear, Donnie, Al, we've all worked with Jim. We've all spoke about him and things like that, have great things to say about him. It's just a shame that his life was cut short.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
He had some cancer issues with his kidneys, I believe it was.
Kidneys.
And so, Jim Chadwick was a guy that he had so much knowledge, and really, let's put it out there. Jim was not the easiest guy to snuggle up against at first. He felt you out, and if he felt like that, you had that desire that we've been talking about, if you had that want to learn, and if he felt that you had the tools to do it, then he was all into you. He would teach you everything that he knew, and he would help you get better. But if you were just a jabroni and you were just blowing smoke out his ass, he picked that out right off the bat, and he'd just tell you, get to stepping. I ain't got time to talk to you.
Me and Jim were for the same hometown.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and when I started doing when I was doing my training, the first match that I got to wrestle was because of Jim. We were doing a battle royal in my hometown in my high school, and Jim told Danny,
how crazy is that? And that's your first match?
First match ever, my hometown, my high school. I had just graduated from high school 2 months before. So Jim's like, brother, Danny, this is their hometown. Let him and the other dude be in the battle royal tonight. So we went out there. supposed to be heels, but I had the J Rock
Hometown,
chant going.
baby.
Had a crowd full of the backyard boys cheering me on. But yeah, just because of Jim, I got to have my first match in my hometown.
First match was on fire right off the bat, and that was a testament to say, hey, you know what? This guy's had enough training. Look at the following that he's got, and this is his first match. We've got to get this guy in the ring.
Yeah,
Look at this. Look who you're inside ring with.
Vicious.
Hey,
Y'all
look.
beating the shit out of each other.
the day of my high school graduation, I left graduation and went to do a show for Danny Fargo.
Nice.
You know how many guys can say that?
Because I was still in my last semester of high school when I started training. So I was leaving on the weekends. That's where I was at the building.
I graduated, left high school, went straight to Paris Island and then to Beirut. So you had a better summer than I did after you got out of school.
You see his hat right here? It's in tribute to gentleman Jim Chadwick.
Right on.
I've been wearing it since June 24th.
Jim would love that hat, let me tell you. If the hat would probably be the only thing that he has on. JR, I'll tell you, like I would. Jim was a guy, he'd take his clothes off in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he was always famous for his pink socks.
I remember watching
Pink was
Luther
his favorite
fight the
color.
Buttons one
Yeah.
day. You remember that in Lawrenceburg that night?
Yeah.
That pole's never been the same since.
Yeah, when Jim took his clothes off and was dry bumping it.
How you doing?
You know, here on the monitor, this is a great match. Anytime you get JR Rock and the Zodiac in a match, and I'm going to put out there, let JR touch on it a little bit. They were tag team partners for a while, man, tearing up the scene. But, as it does, sometimes brothers have disagreements and they have fights, like Bobby Dawson said about myself. And so they were a great tag team. But, there were times that they'd have a dispute or two. And when you see these two, you got a monster and a madman. You can just take it from that. You know what's happening here. I mean, this is devastation. These guys ain't even in the ring. The ring is just there.
Yep, it's just
If you could hear that, that was tremendously
worry,
loud.
I heard it.
I heard it.
too.
That was probably about 10 years ago, and I still heard it.
I've been doing this for 23 years, and out of 17 of the 23 years, I've either been against that man or standing by his side.
Couldn't ask for a better partner. When I think about, and it's the same for you. When I think about Zodiac or yourself, I think of a Marine Corps quote that we always had. There's no better friend, but no worse enemy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And that's what you got when you got the monster Zodiac right here. Oh God. Did you see that? That chair just bent when he hit JR Rock with it. But when you got the monster Zodiac and you got the madman JR Rock in a match, I mean, you know what? There's no sense to have a referee. I mean, I think that's Steve referee in there.
Yeah, Steve.
And so there's a blast from the past, right? Oh my God, look at that. When you see somebody go into the post and all of the ring ropes are vibrating, he smacked the hell out of that post. And these two cats, look here.
Ring awareness.
Oh my gosh. Look at the Zodiac. He's trying to rip
He's
the
using the
knee
ring.
out of JR Rock.
That's Mistress Burgundy sitting there on the corner.
Is that her?
Yeah.
This is
Doggone.
great.
Man, how about these ceiling tiles?
Right. I got some grass growing outside. I'll be back. But, we can push her to the side because when you get, and I know I just said this, but when you get these two cats in a match against each other, and I don't even know why I said match. It's not a match. It's a fight. Neither one of them been in the ring yet. And, I mean, they're beating the hell out of each other. Oh, God, look at that.
These knees are vicious.
Yes.
Look, straight shoot off the cuff.
Oh,
I
God.
want you to work with me on throwing knees like that.
I
Straight
can do
shoot.
it. I can do it, brother.
and again, I said we'd
Oh,
get
here
JR
comes-
to touch
there's
on
the
this.
strap.
Yeah, there's the strap,
There it is.
These guys are vicious. And, again, they were great tag partners, but we're watching this match where they're against each other. JR, talk about, again, you were saying your relationship about 17 years with the Zodiac. Talk about your tag team and stuff with the Zodiac.
Nightmare Inc. We started our feud in 2006 against each other. We became partners in either 2011 or 2012. And all the brutality we had towards each other went out towards everybody else then.
Which I'm sure made you both feel a little bit better.
Yeah, because we were beating the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
And we knew there wasn't nobody going to beat us no matter who it was.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we have a familial dispute at the Diamond Bash maybe 2020? If I'm not mistaken, was it Nightmare Inc. against the Diamond Dogs?
It was.
I think it was, yeah.
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 Great
sure
times,
was.
man.
Me and
Speaking of Omega earlier.
yeah, me and Zodiac against Omega and
the Wolfman, Jake Braddock.
Yeah, I kicked Omega out of his boots if he had boots on. But
Well, and beat
Hasn't worn him since.
and beat Jake Braddock so bad that he never came back.
Right, yeah, haven't seen him since.
yeah.
You know, again, it's just a testament when you get into the ring with a guy like J.R. Rock or like we're watching here, him against the Zodiac. And I want to put it right out there, man. I have been around wrestling for a long, long time. And I don't really put over a lot of people unless it's Bobo Brazil, Ric Flair, something of that nature. But if you have a chance to go and see J.R. Rock or the Zodiac, especially if they're against each other, I'm telling you, we had it at the Bash. My gosh, the last man standing. I don't know if anybody was standing after that match. I mean, there was carnage all over the place. But if you get an opportunity to see these gentlemen, and I'm using that term very loosely, they're not gentlemen, they're beasts. But if you have a chance, if they're on the marquee, definitely lay your money down. And if they are on the marquee wrestling or fighting against each other, look, pay double because you're going to need a seatbelt. It's going to be that good, I guarantee it.
You damn
shovel.
straight.
That's a literal shovel.
Yes, it is.
This past Bash, it had been about 4 years since I wrestled Zodiac, and the last time that was at KPW.
Yeah.
And we got a standing ovation from everybody that night.
Yeah, I remember the holy shit
And
chant.
a vicious
Yeah.
spine buster. I'm just going to start stealing your moves, all right? It's hereditary.
I'm just going to say the smart promoter booker that put those things together was Scott Diamond.
Whatever that may be.
There were wrestlers on the show where we had the standing ovation. Instead of promoting their own match, said, you guys need to come and see J.R. Rock and Zodiac because it's going to be a barn burner.
I'm telling you, I don't care where it's at. If it's in somebody's backyard, basement, in your mom's bathroom, I don't care. If you see J.R. Rock and the Zodiac and they're in a match against each other, look, sell your children, sell your house, sell your car, whatever you got to do to get the money. You get down there because this is Scott Diamond approved, and I don't do that for everybody. But if you see Zodiac against J.R. Rock, it's Scott Diamond approved. You're going to get your money's worth, I guarantee you. And then you're going to start sending me a Christmas card every year because I turned you on to those two. That is one hell of a fight. If you get a chance, definitely go out and watch it. Like you said, that's a damn a coal shovel in the ring
Damn
right there.
straight.
These guys are crazy.
Oh, and this is just hate. We didn't have no titles on the line. We just don't like each
They
other.
just don't like each
I
other.
can see Austin Diamond pulling off these moves.
You know, I'll keep it $1.75 with you. Austin Diamond is a bad man. I will win by hook, by crook, or by the book. But I am no J.R. Rock. Credit where credit is due. I am a bad man, but the man sitting across from me, and I use the term man loosely, the individual sitting across from me
That's more accurate.
is sick, twisted, demented in all the best ways, and I hope to learn from the best.
And he's beating Zodiac with a literal bone. It looks
Yeah,
like.
big dog bone.
You know, the cartel, we've always had that saying, evil, mean, and nasty. And I think it came from J.R. Rock. I'm telling you, because nobody personifies that like J.R. Rock. He's evil, mean, and nasty. If you get a chance to see him again at a theater or arena, wherever it is, matinee, close to you, if it's a fair show, the fair shows, as he said, are just getting ready to pick up. It's his retirement tour. And if you go and you love wrestling and you don't have the opportunity to see J.R. Rock before he retires, you'll be mad at yourself. I'm telling you, really.
You know, I went out one time and I saw J.R. Rock pull a chain out of his beard and start choking a lady with it. I saw it. It's the gospel.
It's
I
that lady.
believe it.
It was that lady in Tennessee that was going to beat us with that logging chain.
They will also get a chance to see me on KET pretty soon. There's another documentary coming out called Stages and Waves that I'm in. It's about fairs in Kentucky and different activities that go on at fairs, and I'm highlighted in one of the segments for wrestling at the fairs.
That's awesome. Again, tell them where can we find that, and do you
It'll
know
be-
about a time frame?
It'll be airing on KET in Kentucky and West Virginia later this year. I don't have a time frame yet. They
And
just
what was the name of it?
Stages and Waves.
Definitely watch your KET for that because documentaries are so important. You know, they give you the ins and the outs of things. And J.R. Rock being on this documentary about the fair shows and wrestling in the state of Kentucky. Keep an eye out for that. One more time, the name of that is?
Stages and Waves.
Stages and Waves. Keep an eyeball out. That's going to be on KET.
KET in Kentucky and West Virginia. It's produced by a professor at Morehead State named Steve Middleton. He's done several documentaries on KET. He has them on there all the time.
Again, it's just a testament of, you know, the passion of J.R. Rock. even outside the wrestling ring, he's promoting wrestling, and we're trying to, at every avenue that we have, be it this podcast, be it the documentaries and things of this nature on KET, we're trying to get wrestling out to the people and what it's all about. And, they just don't come to people and ask people to be in documentaries that don't know what they're talking about. So, they come to JR Rock. Again, it's a testament to his knowledge. They come and they get him to be in this documentary and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. And one more time, it's Waves.
Stages and Waves.
Stages and Waves. Write that down, folks, because it's going to be coming out here in the spring.
That's right. Keep your eyes peeled.
I just want to call out some of these moves: a vertical suplex to Zodiac, a diving headbutt, some vicious knees. This is hellacious.
Yeah,
this is a bad.
We don't like each other much.
Oh, I know this.
I don't think those are wrestling moves. Those are back alley brawl moves,
This was a street fight. So.
Yeah.
Like, whoever's watching this at home has seen me wince more than once in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Because these are vicious moves.
These guys are vicious. They're not using no moves. It's just it's a back alley brawl, I'm telling you.
Also, JR Rock is wearing my shirt.
And the ring is just there.
The fight, they've been fighting for 15 minutes, and they just now, for the first time, got in the ring.
Yeah. They were outside the ring just beating the hell out of each other.
Did we silence Drew out of his call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is he still there?
His call ended.
Nice. Well,
Sorry about that, dude. But, also, we were talking about Omega, another young man coming onto the scene.
Yep, he's coming on next week.
He'll be next week. Is it next Wednesday or next Thursday?
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yep.
Right here at the Diamond Exchange with Johnny Lee.
Pitbull Omega, shout out, brother.
Yeah, to the Pitbull. We love you. You're doing a lot of good things, going all over the place. He's a nice young man that's making his bones and things, and he's had the opportunity to be in with JR Rock, with Zodi, and learn from some of the guys, some of the veterans.
I owe that guy a lot.
Good guy. Keep an eye out for Omega, the gold-blooded killer, the Pitbull. He's a hot rising star. Keep an eye out for him because he's doing great things.
March 10th is Cincy Wrestling invades the arena in Jeffersonville. Omega and Carson Drake, another man who originated at Kentucky Elite Pro Wrestling. Audacity will be standing across the ring from, I believe it's Matt Diesel and Dan Severn. So I just want to specify this. Yeah. On one side of the ring is the baddest man on the planet. And on the other side is Dan Severn.
I'm not going to be there.
Oh,
so
I
neither of those guys.
Well, he's a shoo-in for second.
I just like to toot my own horn there for a second. I'm getting old, and I like to hear my own name sometimes, and I got to say it myself because nobody else wants to say it. But I'm fortunate that I've been able to help a lot of guys get into the business like JR Rock has, and Carson Drake is one of those guys. And, he's doing great things. I always believed in him. We bumped heads a few times, but, we only bumped heads because I knew he had talent. When you're around as long as JR Rock and Scott Diamond, you can see things in people, and you know who's going to have it and who's not. And I knew this kid had it. And so, he's just we bumped heads a few times, but I think this young man, he's going to do a lot of great things. He's going to be one of those guys that we're going to be signed on the big stage, and I'm just happy that Scott Diamond helped him get into the business.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like Carson.
Yeah, he's got a match coming up with Nick Aldis.
Hell yeah, that's going to be great. Yeah. I like what he says. He says, it's me, your Golden State God. Well, you know who inspired that? You inspired him to start calling himself the Golden State God.
Well, that credit goes to Omega. Now, where he made his bones off Austin Diamond is the illustrious phrase that got him all over.
You could be good.
You can be good and you can be great, but you'll never be Carson Drake. Thank you very much. I'm still waiting on my merch, you scumbag.
You need to send royalties in here to Austin Diamond there, Carson.
I would hate to have to run up with Unk and, get this settled.
That's
I
right.
will lay down a beat down.
Look, you might be familiar, but when Austin comes with his Unk, man, I'm telling you.
Your ass gets
Come
beat.
to think of it,
You give it up, because if not, he'll take it.
Carson knows about J.R. Rock. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was Carson Drake's first appearance for Kentucky Elite Pro Wrestling.
It was one of those things like we were talking about on the drive over.
Hey, I've been around so long, everybody's had a taste of the Rock at one point in time.
That's right.
I mean, how you doing?
Hey, look, and it ain't about what the Rock says, because the strap does his talking for
That's
him.
right.
The
Golly.
strap will tear your flesh.
Yeah,
And
you were right, JR. That's the Mistress Burgundy.
Dean O'Neill said,
And golly, look at here, the Zodiac. He beats everybody up at ringside, including the women.
us Diamond's assistant, Dean O'Neill said, anytime Scott Diamond is on the podcast, it is always a good time to tune in.
Well, thank you, Dino. You know, Dean is a student of mine. Also, he's still training and stuff. He's got a little ways to go, but he's working hard, and I appreciate the hard work he's putting in. And if he continues to listen to Scott Diamond, JR Rock, he is going to be a force to reckon with, just like the other young people that we have had a hand in helping into this business.
Because they don't want to be like those guys that come in and think, oh, I've worked 6 months. I should be a champion by now.
Hey, look, you can run with the turkeys all you want to, but when you hit the Diamond Cartel, if you ain't up to par, we'll take you out. We'll get rid of you
That's
ourselves. No problem there.
Speaking of champion, do these two jabronis that we're going to beat up in April got any gold we can take home with us?
Gold. That's
You
funny.
know,
You know,
I mean,
they,
I
they just
doubt-
found out about pyrite.
I doubt that they do, but, you know.
The only gold they got is the ear of corn that Big Country travels around with.
Who's this?
How's it hanging? I am Justin from New York. I'm a big fan of Austin Diamond and the Diamond Cartel. And I actually had a question for Scott Diamond. So I've listened to your promo a couple times, and I was wondering, what are your greatest influences?
Who were my greatest influences? I have to say, first and foremost, I seen Bobo Brazil in the Atlanta airport in 1971. And that, for me, was my first look at professional wrestling. I did not know who Bobo Brazil was at the time. But when I seen him in the airport, he was, man, you know, when we were coming up, JR, they called it Superfly, but he had on this real long, beautiful fur coat. He had this big wide brim hat, and he had, you know, back in those days, you know, because I came up with the train, but back in those days, you could still smoke in the airports and stuff like that because the Wright brothers didn't care. But when I seen Bobo Brazil and he had this long, beautiful fur coat on, he had this awesome hat, and he had this long white ivory pipe that he was smoking. I was traveling with my uncle at the time, rest his soul, and I said, you know, I don't know who that dude is, but whoever he is, that's the job that I want. And he said, well, that is the NWA heavyweight champion. That is the heavyweight wrestling champion. And so I said, well, you know what? Professional wrestling is what Scott Diamond wants to do. And so I came up through school, wrestling in high school and stuff like that. And around about 1979, when I started wrestling in high school, Ric Flair was on the scene. And so Ric Flair was the other guy who influenced me to go ahead and fulfill that dream. So I started wrestling in high school in 79, and I started training for professional wrestling in 1987. So those two guys probably had the biggest influence on me. And it wasn't because of the love of the people and stuff. It was just because these two gentlemen, they you know, they always say Dean Martin is the king of cool, but these two cats look so cool. I just knew that was what Scott Diamond wanted to do. And, I mean, the rest is history, you know. I just wish we had the opportunity to video a lot of stuff in the early days. Of course, we didn't have that because we missed out a lot of we missed out on a lot of the young career of Scott Diamond, if I may.
I would like to get a little more depth on that, just in terms of like how your thought process has evolved since then. You know, in the 1440s, what was your initial thought when you saw one Ric Flair walking down to the ring?
Well, I thought, who is this fairy? He walks to the ring. He's dressed all in pink. I mean, he looked like some guy that was, you know, he was training to be some guy's lover or something. And I thought, this cat dressed all in this pink. He looks a little fruity. I really don't think that he's going to be much of a wrestler. And that was 7 minutes before the bell. And when that bell hit and he pinned the guy, I'll tell you what, I have been in love with Ric Flair ever since. Who's the girl?
Maddie Max.
Oh, that's Maddie.
Maria
Okay.
James.
I remember Maddie. She's doing well, real estate.
Omega said Scott Diamond's greatest influence was Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants, cheap bastard.
Yeah.
I know you had to be a Nick Bockwinkel fan.
I did like his style. Yes, I did. Nick Bockwinkel was a true throwback to the old days. Let me tell you.
Now, see that's my mini strap I was hitting
gosh.
Chris Noble with there.
Wearing them out.
It's fun sized. I bet you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Chris Noble found out the hard way. Even if
Yes,
it's a
he
mini
did.
strap,
Oh.
it's still gonna hurt.
Yeah,
that's
J.R.
right.
Rock does not discriminate.
I just killed Maddie Max if you saw that boot.
Oh, I saw it.
I saw that, and
She still sees it.
I think of what we could have done after you kicked him in the face with that boot. Because, look, they were down for 6 months. But anyway, I hope that answered your question, young man, and I appreciate you following us. I hope that every time you laid down your money that you liked what you got because, we busted our ass all these years, J.R. Rock, myself. And, Austin's been busting his ass for several years now to make sure that when the cartel name is put out there, that you get your money's worth. We want you to either hate our guts or love us, whatever one you want to do, but just mainly we want you to know that we want to know that you got your money's worth.
And we appreciate you for calling in.
And we certainly appreciate you for calling in. Keep supporting us.
And let's talk about it. He called from New York.
All the way from New York.
And y'all are Kentucky wrestlers.
Right.
That right there proves you right there. Folks, Kentucky wrestling has an outstanding reach.
It certainly does. Again, Scott Diamond sold merch all over not just the country, but the world. J.R. Rock, too. We've sold merch all over the world. I had a couple of funnies here. You're talking about how far that the cartel reaches. Scott Diamond was in the Marine Corps in the early 80s, been all over the world in some parts of Georgia. So I had a couple of my Marine buddies. The young career of Scott Diamond, if I may. Oh, wow.
Oh, that was me by accident.
Um,
How could I have the...
But anyway, we had, I have a service brother that lives in Cali, and I have one that lives in South Carolina still. And on separate occasions, they have called me up and they said, hey, the one in South Carolina, they were going to the race at Bristol. So they were driving from South Carolina to Tennessee to see the race. And so my Marine brother calls me and he says, hey, look, man, I'm in the car with these cats and we're talking wrestling and they started laughing at me because I told them, oh yeah, because they were big Diamond Cartel fans. And so my South Carolina Marine brother says, yeah, I served with Scott. We're good friends. And they started laughing at him, didn't believe him. So he called me and asked me to verify that we knew each other. And of course, I did. He wanted me to talk to him on the phone, but I couldn't do that. If J.R. Rock and I talked to everybody who wanted to talk to us on the phone, we'd never have time for ourselves. So, but I did acknowledge onto his Facebook page, hey, him and I were great friends, and I hope his two friends ain't laughing now. And the same deal, I had the one that lives in California call me up. Hey, man, these guys are laughing at me because they said I don't know the Diamond Cartel. And by the time that he and I got off the horn, he was the one laughing, not them.
The Pitbull has chimed in with a fun fact. Scott Diamond once managed Abraham Lincoln in a match against Robert E. Lee.
Actually, I did. That's what, people don't know, J.R. Rock. That's what actually caused the Civil War. Because, when Abe Lincoln went over, the South didn't like it. And so they started a big brawl. But, hey.
I told you I broke my hand earlier. That cage match you just watched highlights from, that's the match I broke my hand in.
Wow.
Ouch. That looked like a beautiful, what was that, an 8-person tag?
8-man tornado-style cage
tag?
match, yeah.
I'm just curious. You wouldn't have any stories in regards to, any names per se, and I use the word names very loosely, anything along those lines.
Are we going to where we chased
Yep.
Tommy at the fair that time?
Oh, that works too. That's not where I was taking
Okay,
this.
well.
I was taking this more in a dysfunctional, young talent route.
I don't know. What do you have in mind? What do you hear?
Scott Diamond, you wouldn't know anything about this, right?
Well, who was it, the AJ guy?
I don't know. No. Young talent. Perhaps young lions of sorts.
Oh, when
yeah.
you all went out there and beat the hell out of the, yeah.
Just stop right there.
Yeah.
I love this story so much.
The young
It brings me so much
lions
joy.
are just indie workers like everybody else. They're not names. They work at an indie show for their daddy in Georgia, okay? So let's just go ahead and take that off the board.
And they faced a dysfunctional family in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky one night. And, let me pass it back over.
Apparently, Scott couldn't get anybody to work these two jokers for some reason.
I couldn't.
So he calls me and John Strange up and said, hey, you want to work these guys? I said, Hell, I don't care. I'll work them.
JR said just 2 more people to kill.
Yeah, just 2 more guys to beat up. So,
And he did. He delivered.
so we went on down to Lawrenceburg and we beat the hell out of the Young Lions. I mean, they may have won the match, but me and John Strange won the match.
Look, they got the Duke, but they got their ass whipped.
That's for damn sure.
I mean, wow. You know, and again, when I say it, J.R. Rock, he doesn't care if you make $5 a week or $5 million a week. When you get in the ring belongs to him, and you will get your ass whipped.
You want to hear some names? I've been in the ring with Rob Conway several times. Laid a beat down on the Iron Man a whole bunch of times, me and John Strange.
Yep,
If I may.
WWE superstar.
If I may, talking about the Iron Man, earlier we were talking about the original members of the cartel. Let's throw Cody Matthews' name into the pool here.
Yeah.
Cody Matthews, I'm sure, had an interesting story from that same night, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he the most popular man in all of Frankfurt for that night, despite being the most ruthless villain that city had seen in a decade?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Diamond, would you like to talk about this?
Cody he's from Frankfurt. He's not from Lawrenceburg. Nobody liked him. Excuse me real quick. I'm getting old here.
Getting?
That's right.
Nobody liked Cody Matthews in Lawrenceburg because he was from Frankfurt. So he was this big bad guy nobody liked. And so they brought in those cats. They were called the Young Lions. Is that what they were called? Mm-hmm. So they bring their daddy with them. I don't want to put his name over the airwaves because he really don't deserve that.
Damn straight.
And so they bring him in as the big-time good guy, blonde hair, blue eyes, smiling and all this stuff.
He's a Ric Flair knockoff,
Right,
is
we
all
got
I could
Ric Flair.
tell.
Leave it to J.R. Rock. He holds no punches, brother.
You
Let me
damn
tell you.
straight.
If you want the truth, that's what he was. He's a bad copy of Nate.
And so as bad as the people hated Cody Matthews in Lawrenceburg because he was from Frankfurt, they cheered him against this big name good guy, so to speak. So when you talk about those guys, and I mean, even let's give credit where credit is due to Cody Matthews. When you have guys like Cody Matthews, J.R. Rock and stuff, Scott Diamond, we don't care. If you drove in a limousine or you drove in a 74 Pinto, again, when you get into the ring, we're going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what John Strange, JR, did, and that's exactly what Cody did that evening, Again, they may not have got the win, but they certainly did not lose.
Let me touch on something we were talking about earlier. Guys coming up and not wanting to pay their dues and just getting the big push and things that are wrong with the wrestling business. You see this guy in the ring right here? Do anybody know who he is?
His face is familiar, but I always called him Fingernails. I can't remember his name.
His name is Breed, and he wrestles like a wet bag of shit.
Oh, was that the guy? Was that the guy
Yep.
with
RIPW.
RIPW?
Okay.
What a title.
Isn't he one of the cats that broke Sean Bain's hand?
Yes, he was in that group. I don't know if he was there that night, but he was part of that company. He is exactly what's wrong with the wrestling business. He can't wrestle for shit, and he thinks he's a superstar. And when guys that can wrestle come in and want to give him advice, he don't want to listen to it.
a piece of
He's
shit.
wrestling in a pair of Dickies
Yeah, exactly.
He's
I mean,
got
come
the
on.
mobility of cold butter.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
he looks like a loser.
because he sits around at night drinking hot butter. That's
Oh!
why,
He
hey.
doesn't wrestle now because he blew his knee out. It's the best thing that happened to the wrestling business.
Damn straight.
When I worked for RIPW,
Jeremy Brake.
Jeremy Brake and Rosalina.
I was the heavyweight champion
Rosalie.
down there. And they had some new trainees coming in. And they were trying to ask me for advice. So I was honest with them. I said,
No, hey, J.R. Rock being brutally honest.
they
doesn't
said,
sound like
they said, what can we do to get better? I said, pack your bags and leave RIPW because these guys can't train you or teach you shit. I said, go see Jimmy Walls.
That's when they got mad at you. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I said, go see Jimmy Walls at USWF. So the next show rolls around, and the owner, promoter is like, what's the deal, man? What are you telling these people? I said, the truth.
Right.
I said, you see that guy? And Breed was as far as I am from Austin right now. I said, you see that fucking guy right there? I said, he can't train nobody. He sucks.
He
And he
does
was their
suck.
trainer?
Yeah.
Wow.
That explains it.
It just shows right here. The guy's in sneakers. He doesn't have any ring gear whatsoever.
And he looks like a goof.
He is.
He definitely looks like a goof.
He's got pro duct
Look,
tape.
and look at him stare at Rosalie. He's looking at her because the only girl that he ever been in a room with alone was Mother Goose.
And
That's
I'm probably
right.
hurting his feelings right now because I guarantee him and his cronies, they listen to this podcast. They probably do.
Hey,
But I can't help it. The truth.
The truth is the truth, and when you got a guy, Scott Diamond, Joe Rock, and some of these vets, Donnie Green and Bear, that's been in here, look, we tell you the truth. Because when you have somebody come back through that curtain and they say, how was my match? And you give them a bunch of bullshit about how great it was and it was the drizzling shits, you not only shit on them because you told them something that was garbage was good. Now they're going to learn to do it the wrong way because we're creatures of habit. And you're hurting professional wrestling.
Damn straight.
Be honest like JR Rock and tell them, if you don't have no business being here, get your ass out of the business because you're putting a black eye on wrestling, and we're not going to allow anybody to put a black eye on wrestling.
Hey, and I'm not hard on everybody, just everybody. I'm hard on myself, too. I had a match in Lawrenceburg one night, and you were my manager. Maria was there, and I wrestled Larry D. And I thought I had an awful match, and we came to the back, and Scott was like, no, it was a good match, brother. I was like, shut the fuck up, Scott. I had a bad match. I know it was not a good match. So I'm hard on myself, too, not just everybody.
You certainly are, and I just want to put it out there. Look, it wasn't the greatest match you ever had, but it was not crap like he said it was.
But it wasn't my standard.
It wasn't up to his standard.
It wasn't my standard.
It wasn't up to JR Rock's standard.
But that helps you learn, too.
Yeah.
And
it certainly does,
vicious forearms.
We've said many times, if you cannot wrestle somebody better than you, how do you expect to get better?
Exactly.
If you got, and JR's been with me in every company I ever went to. If he went there, he brought me. If I went there, I brought him. And again, we love professional wrestling. And so that's what we try to protect. And if we see somebody that's not doing what they need to be doing, hey, look, we're doing them a justice by telling them the truth. That, brother, you need to do this, that, or the other, or you need to find something else to do.
You see that referee? You may see him at Doomsday on April
Yes.
22nd.
Allegedly.
Scott Diamond gave him his first bump because he was in my ring. He didn't know what he was doing.
Hey, when I was wrestling, that guy was in the stands buying tickets in 2006.
Yes, he was.
And then you look at this goof trying to push on you like he's something big and bad. And you just respond to him like, back the fuck up.
I have, in fact, seen J.R. Rock eat a baby. That's all I'm saying.
I've seen him eat glass.
This guy wakes up, walks on Legos, kicks the door frame just to get his day started.
That's right.
And when he goes to sleep, he only sleeps with his straps out of his hand. 'Cause you never know when
Anybody
he's
just
gotta
walked
use
on a
it.
Lego, man. Golly.
This guy takes a bite out of his plate in the morning just to feel alive, And you know what? Talking about Doomsday Pro Wrestling, by God, and these incestuous Indiana hicks, the Jeffersonville jerk-offs. Tracy,
baby.
Let's see. I got a little sidetracked. Oh, Michael Ramone, he let the cat out of the bag.
No. Jabron.
I apologize.
Michael Jabrone.
My good friend, the Jabron. He really let the cat out of the bag. He thought he evened the odds. But the truth of the matter is this. Scotty Dimepiece can leave the 9 in the back pocket because I have secured the world's favorite oddity, J.R. Rock. You know what? Have you heard anything from Big Country? Have you heard anything from
Nothing.
Levi, soon to be motionless?
Nothing. No, that's going to be Levi lifeless.
I better hope so. He better hope so.
Yeah, we left not only Jimmy Lamb and Bubba Lamb leaving a hospital, Big Country and Levi motionless. When we got done with all the carnage and we went to walk back through the curtain, they wanted to pop out the curtain like they were standing in front of us, going to keep us from doing something. And the same thing happened. That every time it happened, that they got in our face. Levi motionless' first match was against Frank the Tank, and we killed him. He's still recovering. But they stepped out the curtain like they weren't going to allow us to go into the locker room. And so we give them an opportunity to step aside. And when they didn't, Austin Diamond knocked Levi motionless out cold with a crutch and beat him with it so bad, the crutch turned into a boomerang. And Levi
stands at a 45-degree angle.
It certainly does. And with Levi laying on the ground, his big brother, Big Country, with the tobacco running out of his face, the hot butter drooling off of his lip. I kicked him so hard in some things that he ain't seen in 20 years that when he bent over and I hit him in the head with that cane, well, the same thing happened that night. This happened every time they got in their face. He was laying on his back, looking at the lights and wishing he hadn't got up that day.
The recoil in his chin fat is still bouncing to this day. And Levi, his old lady tried to throw herself at me, and I had to tell her, I will humble you and your 3-year-old child right here, right now, just like I did 6'6" and 85 pounds of Levi lifeless.
That's exactly right. And then when you add J.R. Rock into that, my goodness.
I got a story I want to tell you real quick, Scott. You were asking me earlier about special moments in the wrestling business. You mentioned Tracy. I did a fair tour with Tracy a couple years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was about a year or so before he died.
Just so the fans know, JR, I mean, you and I know, and he knows that we're speaking to Tracy
Smothers. So I was feuding with Stevie P at the time during this fair tour, so it's been several years since Stevie wrestled. And after every one of the matches I had with Stevie, I'd come to the back. Tracy's standing there watching the matches. And Tracy asked that one magical question that everybody wants to hear. You know it's a good sign. How old are you, brother? It made me so happy to hear that. The only answer I give Tracy is I'm too old.
I'm too old.
Because you know what that means, right?
Go ahead and fill him in.
Tracy said, how old are you, brother? If I'd been 25, he'd be like, I'll hook you up. He'd give me advice, give me connections, give me a tryout. My only reply was, I'm too old.
Yeah, because, again, he's seen the good
Yeah.
in the folks that deserved it, and he was willing to give that push. And he had connections all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, Tracy has prided himself on going to places, you know, like Guam and some of the smaller
Definitely.
places that a lot of the big names didn't want to go because there wasn't a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
But Tracy was one of those guys that, you know, he would help anybody on the independent scene or otherwise. And he cared so much for the fans. He would go to where they may only be 5,000 people in the whole daggone island, but he still went because of his love for the business, not the love of the money.
That's probably my best memories or moments from my career. Is Tracy asking, how old are you, brother? Your matches are great. You got a great ring presence. Everything's wonderful. I said I was too old.
Because he's a guy that he could have put you right there on the big stage.
You know, it honestly kind of bothers me. I used to see Tracy so often that I took it for granted. You know, I never really thought anything of it, and legitimately, I didn't think to get an autograph with him until the last show that we did with him, March 7th of 2020, I believe it was.
Yes,
and
when we went into the Hall of Fame.
I never got a picture with him, never thought to do any of that. It's just Tracy, you know, he's always here. He's here all the time, you know. And now that opportunity's gone, I'm sitting here kicking myself because that's an endless fountain of knowledge and information that I left untapped.
And he was a guy that loved everybody. You know, we work with some people that will give all the knowledge that they can give and share that with the younger crowds. And then we've worked with some of the big names that just didn't even care that you existed. But Tracy Smothers was a guy, he didn't care. If you've been in 1 month and you were great, he told you. If you've been in 1 month and you were drizzling shits, he told you. If you've been in 10, 20 years, you know, he still told you. He was the same guy all the time. And, you know, he was one that that had such a love for this business. If he felt that you were deserving, he would sit. I mean, I've seen him many times. Show's over, 2-3 hours, still sitting talking to the boys and girls.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing that a lot of folks don't understand about Tracy. You know, again, because when they have an opportunity to be on a big show with a big name, so to speak, they don't get around them. They're timid a little bit, you know, because of their big name. You never felt that way with Tracy.
No.
Felt like you've known him all your life. And again, you know, he wasn't one of those names that said, okay, my match is over, I'm leaving. He was a guy that said, yeah, my match is over, but I've still got the boys and girls sitting around me in a circle under the learning tree and wanting to learn. So if I got to be here till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, this is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know why, but anybody watching this right now, get a hold of the powers that be. Tracy Smothers needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if it's the Kentucky Hall of Fame, Tennessee Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, ECW Hall of Fame. You know, he and I went into KEPW Hall of Fame the same night. Great, one of the greatest honors of all time for me. But Tracy has to be on that. You know, I really believe it. He has to be on that marquee up in the sky.
But the man is a Southern boy.
The wild-eyed Southern boy. I mean,
we got someone calling in from Louisville, Kentucky.
All right.
Hello.
Man, look, if we talking about Tracy Smothers, I had to chime in.
Why are you making me do this to you, Tracy?
Hey, everybody that's not listening, you know, put your ears to the phone, the computer, whatever it is. We got Omega on the horn. Omega, good evening, my young man. How are you?
All good, boss man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I keep seeing that beautiful baby of yours. How's she doing?
She's good. Just got put down to bed.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's good, Rock? How you doing, man?
I'm doing, man. Hanging in there.
How's retirement treating you?
It's all right. I got a couple more matches in me before the end of the year, and then I'm hanging it up.
All right.
We got Omega on the phone, everybody.
That's right.
Doggone Omega. He's going to places all over the country, running around, making a name for himself. We were speaking about you a little bit early, Omega. And, telling the folks, shoot, you don't need us to tell them because you're all over the place and they see that. But, here's a young man that's really making his bones, making a name for himself. If you see him on the marquee, definitely go out and check him out because you're going to enjoy yourself. One of the hottest young stars on the scene right now coming up. And he is also a personal trainer. Omega, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give that info out. Maybe we can get you some more students over there.
I appreciate it. Yeah, if anybody's looking for a trainer in person, online, you can look me up on Facebook, Instagram, just about anything. Pitbull Fitness LLC. Again, if you're in the Louisville, Southern Indiana area, I've got my own personal studio doing in-person training. If you're a little bit further out, we do online training. We're at custom workout plans. I work out. I help people from just about every single walk of life, all ages, genders, fitness levels, and backgrounds. I've trained athletes. I've trained ordinary people. I've got a couple of other brothers and sisters in the business on the payroll. So yeah, man, if anybody out there needs some help, just let me know.
There it is. And I don't know anybody that doesn't want to be healthier. So, a way to be healthier is to eat right and, keep your exercise up. And if you're looking for something like that, a meal plan or some exercises, definitely reach out to Pitbull Fitness.
That's right, Andy. Pitbull Fitness.
But yeah, man, we talking about Tracy. I had to chime in for a second. Because, Tracy Smothers, bar none, one of the best humans that I ever met in or out of the wrestling business.
Agree, 100%.
One of the best.
I've only heard one person make a bad comment, and I used to have respect for this young man. Well, he's not young; he's older than me. But, Tony Atlas, one time, I had all the respect in the world of him growing up and stuff. Great wrestler, power lifter, and things of this nature. But he said that Tracy was racist. And then in the same breath, he said he had never met Tracy. He was just saying that from something that somebody else said. And I think maybe it's because some people confuse the fact that Tracy carried the Stars and Bars. That was his gimmick, if you will, being from Tennessee. But and Omega, I think you can chime in here too for sure, because I don't think, and JR Rock, you know him a long time as well, I don't think there's anybody in their right mind could ever say that Tracy was racist or anything else. Like you said a moment ago, Omega, he was one of the best human beings that I ever met, and I've been all over the world, and I will go.
Man, look, I'm not the spokesperson for all black people in America. I'm not the president of black people, and I don't know what Tracy's interaction with everybody on the face of the planet was. But man, I would be hard pressed to believe that Tracy had a single racist or a bigoted bone in his body. The man never treated me or any other young brother out there that I ever came across with anything less than respect. The reason that me and Tracy hit it off the way we did was because he was one of my pops mentors. He was big one of Big mentors.
Yeah.
As soon as I met him, like the first time I ever met him, we were down at Jimmy Wall's a couple of years ago. He walked in the door. He, set up his stuff at his table, went over, introduced myself, shook his hand. He asked who broke me in. I told him, it was like, Victor Lewis is practically my dad. And he was like, I love this. And, goes off on a whole tangent, and it was all love from that point on. Man, and again, I'm not going to act like I knew what his interactions were with everybody, but you could not convince me that Tracy Smothers was a racist. It's not happening.
I would never believe that in a not a moment.
He was a great guy.
A moment. And when I seen that interview with Tony, it really kind of hurt me a little bit, because again, I always looked up to Tony, because he was one of the guys when the bottom fell out on the big stage for him. He still traveled around with an entourage of young independent stars to places that, he didn't have to do this with these young kids, but he was taking these young kids out on the independent scene, and sometimes Tony wasn't making any money at all. And so I had a lot of respect for him. But when he made that comment, and then he had also, again, in the same breath, say that he had never met him, I just don't understand how anyone can judge anyone without meeting them, without some strong proof that's out there. And with video, there is proof on some things, in today's world. But if you haven't physically talked to that person, and there's not some overabundance of trash out there proving your statement, I don't understand either how anyone could have a bad word to say about Trey.
Exactly.
Man, look, Tony Atlas lost his mind a long time ago. And I'm pretty sure we can all accept that. Tony, it's the same guy who back in January posted a New Year's video of him laying on the ground getting punched in the face. Tony lost his marbles a long time ago.
Exactly.
Wasn't he down there when Frank got stabbed? Wasn't he on that thing? Yeah, I thought he was with Carlos Colon. He was there the night that the stabbing occurred.
Richard Brody.
And he was another one that hushed up and didn't tell the truth. So
until years later, when Dark Side of the Ring, the documentaries and stuff started paying for people's opinions, and now all of a sudden you got something to say.
Yeah,
exactly.
So with those couple of things, I'm with you. He's lost his mind, and I don't have any respect for him anymore.
He has no business saying.
Do you have some a memory or something that you got with J.R. Rock that you'd like to put out there for the people?
Memory of J.R. Rock, man. I'm so anybody who's never seen J.R. Rock outside of a wrestling ring, I'm gonna let you know, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody with a better shoe collection than J.R. Rock. That's always my first memory of Rock, is just the kicks that this dude used to show up to shows in. Don't let the boots that you see in the ring fool you, man. J.R. Rock has the freshest sneaker collection in the state of Kentucky.
It's funny you say that. I didn't even think about that. I've seen it, but I just didn't. You caught me off guard there. Earlier we were talking about, and I don't know if you've seen this outfit, but his Beetlejuice outfit. Have you seen that?
Yes.
You're right, man. And he had the shoes to kick it off with, man. But that's one of my favorite outfits that he did.
Hey, I got some new kicks on the way too, Omega. Wait till you see those.
What you got coming, Rock?
I got Jumpman 14 Dorenbachers coming.
Hell yeah.
Oh hell.
Oh, we got some.
I thought I was doing good with, I buy Calvin Klein shoes and Florsham shoes and stuff like that, and Rockports and stuff. And man, I just can't keep up with J.R. Rock. Not when it comes to shoes, man.
Now, Omega, I'm going to completely undermine everybody else here because this is very important on account of I have the money to afford it now. I know you know those purple shoes that you have that I so dearly adore, right?
Oh, Lord.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, them purple gators?
Yeah. So I'm going to see you next week, you feel me? So, you can hook me up. I got the cash in hand. I need to go shoe shopping, bro.
I got you, fam. I got you.
Love
He's
you, big
hustling.
bro.
So you're gonna
We're gonna hook you up with some gators. Just let me know what color you want. What you want? Purple? You want some blue suede? You want some?
Yo,
we can get you some maroon color. What you want, man?
Yo, let me do some maroon. Maybe if they got a super saturated red, or if they got some crisp silvers or blacks. You know what I'm saying? Just look around for me.
You can't never go wrong with purple.
Never
go wrong
exactly.
with purple.
We're here talking shoes and clothes and things, and so now what's going to happen is Matt Atreya is going to hear this, and he's going to call in, because I'll tell you, here's a guy. He one time he puts over. This is before he came into business, though. But I used to book for Bob Orton Jr. down there in Knoxville, and so I brought Matt Atreya down there one night. And we spent half the night, man, talking about clothes. And so he comes back, 4-hour drive. And the entire 4-hour drive, after we've already been on the show for 3 hours talking about clothes, the whole 4-hour drive back, we're talking about clothes. He gets home just to put on his social media page, man, it's a good night when you get paid to talk about clothes with Scott Diamond. So,
Man, look here. Me and Matt Atreya are not on good terms right now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He probably didn't know it neither. If he's listening to this right now, he's probably shocked. Man, what's going on? Oh, yeah, he knows now. Nah, once upon a time, I loved Matt Atreya. One of the coolest dudes that I'd ever met. But nah. Anybody who knows anything about me knows Austin Diamond.
Yes,
what
sir.
does Omega hate more than anything?
The Monday list.
Peeps. Peeps.
Peeps.
Yeah.
Marshmallow peeps. I legit don't think there's anything I hate on the face of this planet more than marshmallow peeps. Everybody knows that. Guess who decided to go buy and do a review on that daggone marshmallow peep flavored Pepsi?
Oh, I seen that. I thought it was a lemon, but it was a peep thing the other day he did.
Peeps soda. I've got a video.
I didn't listen to it. I just happened to see
I've
it.
got a video from October 15th of Omega ranting about Pepsi trying to make a Peeps soda. I'm going to post that tonight.
Shoot.
So, as soon as I saw that, Matatrea went on the hit list. It's like, no, can't do it.
Did it make Monday's list?
I was going to. That's next week.
I just assumed you were going to say you hated the transporter because every time I see Matt, that's what he's dressed, like the guy from the transporter.
Transporter. Yeah. I was trying to think of that guy's name. Like,
Jason Statham.
yeah,
Statham.
Jason. That's it.
Nah, me and Matatrea got nuclear heat right now.
Rightfully so.
You know, I don't understand it either. My oldest son, he just loves those peeps, and it's just something I never could eat either. And you know, Scott Diamond likes to eat, but that ain't food, man. And I'm talking about from a jarhead's cuisine. You know, I've sat in the jungle and ate bugs and bugs and bugs, but I can't eat a peep either. I'm with you on
Peep
that.
is trash.
Hey, gummy worms don't count as bugs, Scott.
Hey, look, I'd have taken a gummy worm a couple of those times. I'll tell you. You know, I ate a beetle one time, and before I could chew it up and swallow it, it pinched my tongue, and man, it was like all I could do to try to swallow it or get it out of my mouth. Oh my goodness!
I know Trey is at home listening right now, so I'm going to dog on him a little more. You know, for a guy who is standing at 5'6", already balding at 45 years old, Matatrea is the first man in a long time to get Austin Diamond off the ground. Off top, I don't know how I feel about that. But beyond that, he dropped me on my bad knee. Matatrea, you're a horrible person. And
Was that last Sunday?
That was last Sunday.
Yeah. I got him. Which, if you would like, I'm trying to do the same thing, putting in some names in Tony's ear over there. We got him over there to New South this week. I introduced the two of them at the bash, and we got him over there. And of course, we're going to be pulling J.R. Rock over there, and I'd like to, pull you over there as well if you would be interested.
Of course, man.
Omega
Tony's
has
always
great
looking.
history with that venue.
Well, I mean, Tony's doing a great job over there, and I appreciate him putting me on. And I even more so appreciate the fact that he puts faith in the things that we bring to the table. And so, I've introduced him to some of the cats, and he's bringing them over there. And certainly, if that's something that you'd be interested, I've talked to him about J.R. Rock as well. Because he's doing great things, and I think that that would be a great platform for yourself and J.R. Rock and some more of the reputable guys that we work with.
Oh, no, absolutely. Me and Tony have we talked briefly a couple of times, and I'd love to be involved with New South.
We'd love to see it.
You know, being one of the aging dogs in the yard, it's important to note Omega's been around a minute now. You know, he's been around a minute now.
What do you got, 5 or 6 years now?
Yeah. I'm in year 6 right now. October will give me year 7.
Well, when J.R. Rock and I came in, I asked you that way now because when we came in, they never asked us, how many years you've been in the business. They asked you how many matches you've had. And I think you're one of those guys, though, too, that no matter which way we would ask you, man, you've put the work in for sure.
Last October, I worked Carlito. And when we met, he asked me the same thing. He asked who it was that trained me. Like when I threw Vic's name out, he knew exactly what I was talking about. He asked me how many matches I had. It was like, at this point, oh, man, yes, you good. It's like, yeah, man, I'm doing this for a little bit.
Hey, let me tell everybody a quick story about Omega when he first got in the business.
Watch out.
We were down at USWF, and it was like a weird lottery tag team kind of thing going on. And Omega and Stevie P were in the ring squaring off, and they were circling around or whatever. And Omega's talking all this trash. And Stevie's like, "You better shut your mouth." And Omega's like, "Oh, shit, I done fucked up."
Hey, look, because, look, I mean, you probably haven't seen it because a lot of the vets have chilled out. But I know JR has, and I know I certainly have. I've seen Stevie P slap the shit out of a referee or, a couple of greenhorns a couple of times.
The thing was, though, Stevie loves it. He thought it was great what Omega was doing, but Omega was like, oh, shit, I fucked up. He was still young then. He was young in the business then. You hadn't been long, what, a year and a half then?
Yeah, man. I legit thought I'd messed up because the whole time I didn't stop running my mouth. He just looked up and he was like, "Yeah, you better shut up." I was like, "Oh, damn."
Yeah, because again, Stevie was one of those guys. He came up too like we did, and I've seen him do it, man. Referee mess up a spot or something, you have to take it back around, and he just slapped the shit right out of him, man. Has somebody over there at the music table, like I've seen JR do the same thing about this, but at the music table, they say, oh, well, your music's too long, we're going to cut it short, or, I can't get your music, so we're going to play this, and it's like, no, you're not. You're going to play my music. If you have to sit here the entire time and just sing it yourself, because if you don't play my music, or in JR's case, if you cut it short, I'm punching you right in the mouth, and, well, they did exactly that. So it's calmed down a little bit now, but
that was like 2 years ago when I did that.
So it's calmed down a little bit. It just ain't been that long ago.
How poetic that I'm in the room with J.R. Rock and Scott Diamond right now. I just realized today makes 10 years on the dot since Rage in a Cage over in Lecoqua.
Oh, God, they beat the hell out of me that night.
You know what I'm talking about? You remember this?
Yeah, you remember that night? It was an 8-man tag, and you had to handcuff them to the cage.
I remember.
Holy bullshit, man.
It was Kia's 18th birthday.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know today's baby's birthday. I talked to her earlier, but happy birthday, Kia Marie. Daddy loves you, baby.
10 years on the dot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that, but yeah, 10 years ago in the cage, you remember JR, holy shit. I think by the time that I got out, Frank came in and carried me out of the ring, and I think I had my boxers and one sock left on is all I had.
Yeah.
Holy hell, they beat the shit out of me, ripped my suit off. That was a night, man. I mean, you say good memories because it was a hell of a night, a lot of action. But it was not really a good night for me at all.
I remember a good night for you when you and Earl Kelly got put in a dumpster together.
And then this sumbitch, he starts kicking the hell out of the dumpster. I said, Earl, I don't want to do no damn dumpster match, man. That thing's filthy. Oh, no, I'll rent the brand new one, man. It'd be a brand new one, never been used and all this. He brought that damn dumpster in. It looked like it'd been around since Moses was a kid.
It was straight full of garbage from out back.
Full of garbage. I mean, it had tetanus written all over it. There was so much rust on it. And so Earl didn't throw me in the dumpster. J.R. Rock came out of the back with Ryan Dukey, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And threw me in the dumpster. And then J.R. Rock, seeing all the rust on the son of a bitch, he starts kicking the hell out of it. And then on the inside of I'm laying in like 10 weeks of garbage. Smelled worse than a guy's gear that ain't been washed in 12 months.
Oh, we can't talk about that.
But I almost said the name, too. I'm glad I did.
Shout out to Big Cousin.
Yeah, I was trying not to say the name. But when JR throws me in the dumpster, him and Ryan, and I'm laying in like 10 weeks of garbage, smelling old milk and shit, he starts kicking the damn can, and the rust starts falling down on me like acid rain, man. I was like, oh, okay, let's take it home, man. I'm done. Great night. I thought you were going to say one night we were in a cage. I worked very briefly with KZW, and so they had this cage match going on, and they had these 3 young guys. It was going to be 5-on-5. But they gave me these 3 young guys that just, I mean, they didn't know. I mean, they couldn't even lace their damn boots. And I know why they did it. They did it to try to make me look bad. But they did say that I could pull in one person of my choosing for that night. Well, who the hell am I going to go to but J.R. Rock? And let me tell you, we get into the cage. And of course, the bad guys get in the cage first. The 3 young kids, they're standing over in a corner talking amongst themselves. They're not even, they're not team-oriented. They don't know what they're doing. So JR and I is in one corner. They're in another corner. And here comes the good guys out of the curtain. And JR and I are standing there in the curtain. We know because these 3 young kids are over in the corner, they're not going to be any help to us. It's just him and I against 5 dudes. That's the way it's going to be. And so we're trying to get a game plan. And I said, JR, what do you want to do when they get here?
I said, I got this.
And he's like, I got this. And at this point, they're opening the cage door. JR runs over. They're not even in. I mean, they haven't even put a first step, the first foot on a step yet. And so he runs over. He says, I got this. He runs over, and as they open the gate to climb in the cage, he just starts kicking all of them right in the face. And I had to run over, and I said, JR, you got to let him get in the ring first.
And so he says, oh, all right. So he starts throwing them in the ring.
I think he killed probably 3 out of the 5 guys that night before they ever got in the ring.
That
It
was
was
on
great.
contact.
Yeah, I told you I got this.
He had it.
He handled it.
He definitely handled it. Man.
Tell you what, I got a question for JR Rock.
Go ahead, brother.
All right, so January 2020, I got to go out to North Carolina and do something that I will never forget the rest of my life. I wrestled at a Turtles birthday party in North Carolina.
Back up. Did you say a turtle?
Turtle.
Like a turtle
2
with a
of them,
shell?
actually. Yep, like plural. Two box turtles.
Not
200 people.
Not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's kind of
Nope.
weird.
2 real
Regular
turtles.
old box turtles. Real turtles.
Okay.
200 people showed up to a venue in North Carolina to see a wrestling show that was set up as a birthday party for 2 turtles.
Love that.
Okay. Cool.
I will remember that until the day no matter what I do, the entire rest of my wrestling career, if I get to go, wrestle Samoa Joe, if I get signed to the WWE, if I main event WrestleMania one year, I will never forget that I wrestled a show for a Turtles birthday party. Oh. What is the most obscurely memorable show you ever did?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I'm equally curious of this.
The most obscure show I've ever... Okay.
Well, I know it wasn't wrestling no turtle. That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
I want to say it was a show in West Virginia for the Amish Hustler.
Oh, I remember him, yeah.
Okay. I rode over there with a crew of people with Felony Fox and Cujo and Zodiac and Burgundy and John Strange. So we get there. There's a big old audience. Looks like the show's already started. We thought we were late.
Andy.
Yeah. Jason Kincaid was in the ring with the guy. We thought the show was already started. They were doing a training session in front of the live audience.
Really?
I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was like, surely this isn't what I think it is.
Ludicrous.
But that was the strangest thing I think I've ever been on a show and seen.
That's crazy. I have jumped the ass of a few rookies for that.
There's probably 150 people in there, and they were just doing the training before the match with each other. I was like, what? Yeah. What the hell's going on here? That's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never wrestled for turtles, but
that's the craziest shit I've ever heard.
But yeah,
that's my first time hearing about that too.
Hey,
man, I'm telling y'all, we showed up. I took a carload of guys down there. It was me, Duke the Nuke, Justin Storm, Carson Drake, and Jake Braddock. And we stayed the night. They put us up in the hotel. We get to the venue the next day. The promoter's showing us around, and somebody mentioned to us, they're like, "Yes, so the event's actually, for a birthday party." And we're like, "Oh, cool." And we're like, "Whose birthday is it?" And they were like, "Over there on the table." And walk over there, and there's 2 turtles in a little aquarium with party hats on.
That's cool. That's cool.
Well, I mean, you guys said I've been too nice. I'm just going to go out there and say that. I can understand why it was a birthday party, because listening to the crowd that you took with you, I mean, you probably were the most reputable person in that carload. And I mean that as a compliment.
It was one of them things that, like, we had no idea what we was about to get into, but man, at night ended up being a turning point for everybody. I mean, it turned out to be a damn good night. I watched Carson. I watched the young Carson Drake, probably still definitely less than 10 matches in his career, like absolutely dead weight this guy who had been jerking him around the whole time. Was trying to stand back him, trying his best to make him look bad. Carson deadlifted guy off the ground and spiked him with the nastiest German suplex I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow. Yeah, I love that.
And
I love that.
him. Ouch. But they get what they deserve. When I started in 79 wrestling in high school, there was a guy that I wrestled with, and he got spiked on the mat, and unfortunately it paralyzed him the rest of his life. we were seniors in high school, and it's a shame that the guy that he's doing something that we all love, and it's his senior year in high school, and for the rest of his life he'd never ever be able to walk because of doing something that he loves, and the person that was with him just was not as trained as well as he was.
Now, I've got a question real quick. You brought up some obscure wrestling events. I remember you discussing this show that's like held in the center of a street in Compton. Did you ever get the opportunity to work on that show?
Say it again.
I remember you had discussed a wrestling show that had been held in like the middle of a street in Compton.
We did that. Remember that? Down in Compton.
Did you work that show? And if so, I need a story from that.
Wrestling a show in the middle of the street where?
In like Compton, some very obscure location. Man,
no, I never actually got to wrestle that show. Man, I got invited to wrestle at a show like out in the middle, literally out in the middle of Compton, California. Like off Crenshaw Boulevard in Compton. Didn't get to do it.
We did it. Is it pronounced Compton or Campton over there?
Campton.
Yeah, J.R. Rock and myself, when Earl Kelly started SWF, we were big into that, helping promote it and set up towns and things of that nature. And we did one out in the parking lot at, again, I don't know if to pronounce it Compton or Campton.
Campton.
But, it just broke out nasty. I mean, they were throwing gravels at us, and then we were using
No. Scott Diamond. I'm talking about NWA, Ice Cube, The Game, Compton.
Los Angeles.
L.A. Yeah, L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, they're lucky to even be surviving. I remember back in '68, man, they burned half that place to the ground.
Yeah, man. I got invited to do a street fair out in Compton and couldn't make it. But, like, I had never been that excited about the thought of a wrestling show before. Like, hold up. So they just having a show out in the middle of Crenshaw Boulevard.
It ain't
like,
going to be no
I'm
wrestling match. Hell no. I think Tiny Liston was on that program, wasn't he? My mama gave me that. My grandmama gave me that chain.
I will never forget my first APW show. I rode up with Big Brother Adrian Alexander, AA, peep up on the wall, right?
That's right.
And he's telling me, right, he had been there a couple of shows, and it was when they were still running out of, like, the parking lot in front of CSL Plasma, right?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
And it was the night that B.A. Bundy made his big comeback on the bike and the whole gang and all that fun stuff. And so he's
laid the bike down.
Yeah. And so Bo's telling me, he's like, yeah, man, so it's a great time over here. You go over here and about half the crowd is just like some low-key gang members, nothing too noteworthy. And I was like, well, you kind of went by that a little fast. And he was like, yeah, no, that's just a part of this. And I was like, is that right? And he was like, yeah. And then we got there, and well, maybe. Maybe. It was the night you worked Donnie out there. You remember what I'm talking about?
Man, I remember. Yeah, I remember that. And I never let Donnie forget that match happened, because it was a night. I love Donnie to death. Donnie's been like a little brother since he first broke into the business. But that was one of them nights that he had to learn that he had to chill out a little bit. Because, I mean, I spent a lot of time rolling around with, Victor Bruiser and, and I've rolled with Stan for a little bit, and I've rolled with J.R. Rock for a little bit. So, I'm used to being a little physical when I'm in the ring. I can admit that. But, man, I'm in there wrestling Donnie, and he had just got these brand new boots, and they had like these 2-inch soles on them, and he's stomping me, and he is like kicking my brains in with these boots in the corner, and I'm like, Donnie, you gotta calm down. He's boom, 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 boom. Like, Donnie, calm down. He does it one last time. Boom. We all know I wrestle barefoot. I got in that corner. He comes charging in. I jump up and kick Donnie in his face as hard as I can. I'm like,
I will never forget that.
Payback. There's your receipt.
Yep, that's what it is.
I had the perfect seat for that show. I was like second row back, but the seats were staggered. So I was like basically literally sitting on the curb, and I just had the perfect view of everything. You know, y'all coming out the ring. That was the night that Carson swerved on Justin. You know, with my boy Tiberius Parker. You know, T.O.P. The greatest thing in all of Ascend Pro Wrestling history that I got to witness. It was such a fun night. I wish I got to go to more of those shows.
You know, you talk about giving receipts and things. You know, J.R. Rock's one of the guys that hands out more receipts than anybody I ever know. J.R., why don't you tell the people something about some of those times that you've had that, you know, things got a little crazy in the ring and you had to get a little real and physical, more so than you normally are.
Physical? JR? No.
No, I'm like a feather when I'm in the ring, brother.
Yeah. Very light, very light.
Omega knows. Omega knows. What are you laughing for?
Yeah.
What are you laughing for?
Man, okay, hold up. No. I'm gonna go ahead and cut JR off before we start talking about receipts.
That's dangerous.
Man, it was me and Jake Braddock tagging against Rock and Zodiac one time, and I'll never forget. Me and Zodiac are in the ring. Zodi tags JR Rock in. I'll turn around. I didn't even notice the tag happened. I'll turn around. Here comes JR Rock. It just boots me in the head out of nowhere.
Wasn't that that was a KPW, wasn't it?
That was at the Bash.
Yeah, I remember that. That was at the Bash, yeah.
That was my first ever Diamond Bass. And Zodi makes that tag. I turn around and JR Rock just bam right in the face.
Oh, talk about turn the other cheek, man. Whoa.
Man.
That was an accident. I love you, Omega.
That was a love tap.
I'll tell you a couple of stories. I was at a show at the arena one night, and
I'm sorry.
Brian Lawless was there, and
yeah. Look, even sorry to cut you off, JR. Even a young cat like Omega, when your reputation precedes you to the point that the young cats coming in know your reputation as well that you've never worked with.
Yeah,
that's a bad reputation, and Brian had it. Damn, is that the Driller?
It sure is.
Oh, Eddie Bradley.
Brian Lawless was there, and Biff Wellington was the booker, and his son was wrestling on that show, okay?
No talent, Biff.
It was towards the end of the night, and I was coming back downstairs. So when I walk in, Lawless is sharing stories with Biff's son about how I may or may not have busted their mouths open with a big boot in a match.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I told him that's on them. I said, you got to turn your face or you're going to eat the boot. I mean, I can't help that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Turn your head or lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, hasn't he heard he's supposed to turn his head when your boot's coming?
Well, I tell him before the match. I said, you got to turn your face.
Exactly.
There was another time I got a little rough with a guy. I don't know if you're listening, John Bullard, but I'm about to tell a story on you.
Oh, I hope he's listening.
John listens to
I hope
us.
so, too.
He was training in Georgetown with Feldy and Cujo. He was doing a gimmick. He was Johnny Rock, my estranged half-brother. So, we're in the ring doing our deal. We lock up. He just freezes. Won't do nothing. I'm trying to move him. What do I do?
Stage fright got him.
Yeah, he just froze up like a deer in the headlight. So I just started pounding on him. I'll loosen you up a little bit.
Yeah. Let me run you through my fitness course. Holy boy.
Let me rearrange your sternum.
He was refereeing when I first met him.
Yeah. He refereed, didn't manage, then he tried to wrestle. It didn't last very long.
No.
Austin Diamond.
That's me.
You have the misfortune of sharing a locker room with one of the very few people I have ever had to give a receipt to. Not even a receipt. I don't even know what you would call it. That I've ever had to beat on my way through a match with.
Oh, no!
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Crawling across to get my shirt. Hang on.
We're
Look,
all
it's
listening.
There's not too many people in the wrestling world that I openly talk down on, but man, the single worst match that I've ever had in the last 6 years I've been doing this.
Excellent tag.
Not Richie Karma. Is it going Richie Karma?
Handicap, no.
No. Oh, even worse. Even worse.
Oh, God, even worse.
Handicap match for Optimum Pro Wrestling in the arena. January 2020. It was me against the Gilpinator and Skylar Douglas.
Whoa, Lord have mercy.
Wow. those kids have always been very respectful to me. But when Gilpinator came to me and was talking about the heat that he had with Vic, I said, brother, it's like this. You know, I don't know anybody that Vic has ever had heat with that was not deserving.
I poured as much gas on that fire as I could.
Excuse me?
Every single time.
Look,
Single time.
you
Rock
poured
saw
gas
Vic,
on it.
He tried to dump gasoline on it.
As soon as I found out, O was there. He knows. As soon as I found out, you were probably there too. As soon as I found out, I booked them both on the same card.
Hey, real quick, can I ask a favor on Mega?
What's up?
You think you could, like, extinguish some potential heat, you know, talking about pops? You think you could smooth that one over for me? Just kind of rub that one,
No, that was on you, young man. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
do anything wrong.
That's on you, young man. But no. Circling back, though, problem is the Gilpinator at this point, like in this match, the Gilpinator, he wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't the match I was expecting with him. He wasn't the problem on that night. In all honesty, Scholar made the Gilpinator look like Steamboat that night.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Man.
Skylar Douglas went out there and gave the single worst performance in arena history.
Oh, wow.
That should tell you something.
I've seen a lot of bad performances.
Yeah, let's not get carried
Yeah, we were
away.
just talking about A.J. Black, was it? So, I mean, that was pretty rough. Look, A.J. Black went out there one night. He was a greenhorn, too. And Brian Beach beat the hell out of him, and he come back in the locker room telling everybody what a great match he had. Brother, you didn't have no match. You just went out there and got your ass kicked.
Damn straight.
I was there for that. I remember him going out. I remember Brian Beach beating his ass. I don't even remember him coming back to the locker room. And I don't think I ever saw him after that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I ever even saw him after that.
I saw him one
Once.
more time after
Yeah,
that.
once.
He was crawling on his hands and knees crying because Tuffy was killing him with chops. And he was going, he was crawling across the ring saying, help me, help me.
I was in that match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I
You were out
completely
there.
forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
It was a 6-man tag.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Tuffy was on the other side, and it was me, him, and Jake.
Yeah.
Tuffy chopped him, and, like, he started making his way to the corner. Tuffy looked at me and Jake and said, don't tag in. So we hopped off the apron.
Remember that.
Yeah.
There's
He was
another
like,
blast from the
like,
past.
nah, man, it's on you. Go ahead.
That's the guy we need to get in here on the Diamond
Yes.
Exchange is Tuffy. You know, I'll have to call him next week and see what we can do about that.
Tuffy's great.
Great blast from the past.
Oh, speaking of Tuffy, our co-host took one of his chops and is still feeling it to this day.
Good.
Hey, Tuffy used to do the 619 when I broke into the business.
I saw him do that a couple of times.
I'll tell you, man, I had him chop me a few times one night in there, you know, as a bad guy manager, and that's not the place you want to be.
When I was young, I wrestled Tuffy in Mount Sterling. He would chop me all the time. The last time I wrestled him, he wouldn't chop me at all. He's like, no, bro, you passed all that.
Well, there was about 60-pound difference in him, too, from NWA days to the last time we had him over there.
Didn't you have the privilege of catching Tuffy from the top rope one night alongside Scott Diamond? Am I remembering that?
I did. It was supposed to be me, Scott, and Jake Braddock, but Jake had his head up his ass, and he was walking the opposite direction, so I caught to. I just said, I'll catch you. I got you, brother.
Yeah, Jake was supposed to be involved with it.
Yeah. He
with
walked
us,
off
and
as
he
Tuffy
was-
went airborne.
It scared him. Yeah, he went gone. You know, I hate that because Jake had a lot of promise. I just don't know. He just fell out of the game, man. I don't know what the deal was.
I still love Jake, man. But
I liked him too. You know, the reason that I hired him was because he came like 6 or 7 shows, and that's how I met him even, you know. He had started down there at KCW, and so he'd come up to 6 or 7 shows without being booked and stuff, and he just would say, man, if anybody cancels, you know, I'm here, I want a shot. And his persistence is what caused me to go ahead and book him. And then, I don't know, man, after, you know, I gave him the Wolfman gimmick and put the chain, actually the chain that Omega carries now. You know, I went out and bought the chain, dog collars and things, and gave it to him. And when he started picking up some steam, all of a sudden he didn't want to carry the chain no more. He didn't want to do the Wolfman thing no more. He didn't want to wear the fur no more. And then he just went into obscurity. So, I mean, I don't know. You know, some guys come in and you know, it hits them too quick and they can't handle it, or sometimes can't handle the physical part of it, which I think Jake handled the physical part of it. I think the mental end of the deal is what maybe got him.
Yep.
I'll tell you a funny story about
I'll
Jake.
tell y'all what.
Go ahead, Omega.
I was just gonna say, I'll tell y'all what, Jake's still like a brother. Talk to him frequently, and I'm not gonna put his business out there, 'cause they ain't mine to sell. But man, when things materialize for Jake, it's going to catch everybody off guard. Nobody's going to see it coming, and like we're all going to stand back and say, "Damn, Jake really did that." Like the young man's got something cooking. Like I said, I'm not going to put his business out there because it ain't my place to tell. But when what's done in the dark comes into the light, everybody's going to take a step back and say, "Damn, Jake, really?"
Well, I've always liked him. You know, I took a shine into him again, his persistence, and I wish him the best. I never had any heat with him. I just again, I didn't understand why he started coming into the light. Because down there at KZW, he wasn't doing anything good down there because they didn't know what they were doing until I got down there for those 3 months. But when he came to KEPW and we started doing some stuff, man, I mean, he started picking up a head of steam, and then all of a sudden he was gone and no communication or anything. And, just like you and Adrian, I think of you guys like family. And just because we may not be doing shows together or maybe we won't even be in the same business anymore, there's a few of those people. Of course, J.R. Rock, lifelong friend. Jake was one of those guys that I thought, too, would be, like yourself and Adrian, that we would be lifelong friends, whether we still worked in the same business or not. And, he disappeared that quick. I mean, just fell off the face of the earth that quick. So I don't wish him any ill will or anything. I don't have any heat with him. I wish him the best. But I didn't understand why when things were starting to happen for him that it all fell off and went to Never Land or something, because it really, you didn't see it coming. It just happened.
Facts.
Well, thanks for killing mood, Scott. Let me tell something funny so we can get everything going again. We were doing a benefit show at Western Hills, and there's some kind of little meet and greet going on before the show or after the show. Me and Jake were out there, and he was ready to go back, so he starts talking pig Latin to me. I was like, okay, let's go. He's like, oh, man, I'm glad you understand Carney. I said, that's not Carney, brother.
No, that's not
That's pig Latin.
Look, if you want to know Carney, get into a match with Boogie, because Boogie still talks all that stuff,
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Go talk to Jimmy Walls. He'll teach you some Carney.
Yeah, Jimmy Walls too. X. I wrestled Boogie probably about 5 times, and then the last match that we had, the take home was a sleeper hold. So we do the deal, and it comes to the part. It's a handicap match, him and Santa against me. And so when take home comes about and Boogie gets me into the headlock, or the sleeper hold, he starts telling me, he's talking all the John Wise there. Look at there, isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. He starts talking to me in Carney, and I'm like, okay, Boogie, we don't really use that no more, and I'm in a sleeper, so we're not going nowhere anyway. And so, he starts talking to me in Carney, and then the last thing he says to me, all right, brother, go down to one knee. I love you, Scotty, baby. Bye-bye. And it was done, Those old guys, man, that still talk that Carney like Jimmy and them. What a great thing to be in there with them and get a little touch of the past.
I remember the first time I met Jimmy, he walked up to me, shook my hand. He starts talking, and it was like talking to Boomhauer from King of the Hill. Yeah. I just had to smile and nod the whole time, like,
Yeah, I love him. I learned so much from him. And the last show I done, we were doing the TV down there at AMW, and it's so sad because his, he always rode with somebody, and him and his driver were over at the gimmick table. And bless his heart, man, I felt so bad because the only people who knew who he was, because, when he went vegan, he lost a lot of weight. And so the only people that really recognized him was the veterans, the old guys, Nobody was at his merch table because nobody knew who he was. And the only people that talked to him was the vets. That was the last show I done with him. I just felt so bad for him. Because he truly was a cornerstone of what we're doing. I mean, if you can kick Jerry Jarrett off of TV with just one term, of which they did, Boogie and Jerry Lawler, they almost lost their TV contract because Jerry called Boogie a fag.
Yeah, I know about that.
Remember old Cage Cutler?
I never liked him.
There's Johnny Rock managing him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Just talking
Cage
about.
is legitimately, I think he was one of the first wrestlers I met over here when we started hitting up Lecoqua. He was
Yeah.
up front where Miss Linda used to sit.
Yeah.
And just for whatever reason, he was the first guy that I ran into.
You know, to touch on was something that you said, Scott. It's a damn shame that no one knows who Jimmy Valiant is right now.
It certainly is because, again, he's a cornerstone to our business. I mean, so many things that he's taught to people over the years, you know. It's amazing.
I mean, at one of the KPW shows I went to earlier last year, there was someone wearing a Jimmy Valiant shirt, the Boogie Woogie Man. So,
Yeah. And actually, I just talked to his kid. I talked to the Boogie Boy, Gary Valiant, tonight before I came over. So, you know, the Valiant name carries a lot of weight, no doubt about it.
that's right.
Man, you can ask my man Gabriel, botched blade job on Instagram. I'm telling you, he's got to be sick of hearing about Jimmy Valiant because every couple days I'll find a new clip and I'll have to send it to him. Hey, man, did you see this? Did you see this?
The Boogie Woogie Man.
Look, I called over there one night to talk to Boogie, you know, and it was about 7:15.
Not-
DDT.
What's the punch? I'd knock
let's
Cage
see.
Cutler out.
I never did like him.
Well, it's the last punch, I think.
He used to hang with Skyfire. I didn't like either one of them, honestly.
Whoa.
That's what he gets.
Oh, that landed.
Oh, watch this DDT.
Yeah, I
Watch
knocked
this
him
DDT.
out.
That
He
was
doesn't
shoot,
know where
wasn't
he's
it?
at. He doesn't know
Yeah.
where he's at. Watch
Hey,
the DDT
yeah.
one more
He,
time.
he went for a
told you.
DDT and Cage.
Yeah, I told you.
Didn't sell
Wow.
I knocked him out when I hit him.
Light as a feather, boys. Light as a feather.
I seen him. He was with some Fed in Indiana. I seen advertised recently. I hadn't seen his name in a while. Now this
Oh,
this one
man.
right here, yeah, that was the one right
Now
there.
what?
This DDT,
When he
he
goes for a
doesn't know
DDT.
where he's at.
Yeah, he don't know what he's doing either.
He didn't know what he was doing when he got started, but he definitely didn't know what
He
he was
got
at right
knocked
there.
stiff, legitimately. Like,
Look, he could have put his foot on the rope, grabbed the rope with his hand or anything. He's like, no, I want this shit to be over with.
Yep.
can you blame him?
That's Steve Reffin there again, ain't it?
Yeah.
Is that Steve?
He
Look,
knew he was
the
in
first time I did commentary.
Those are feather
Steve
light
and I did it.
punches.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not that second one.
I'm not even watching the video, and I ain't buying for a second that JR Rock
Yeah,
stole
you
a
already
feather
know.
light
Oh.
punch.
Holy Moses. Look, when he hit Brother went down and was trying to get out of the way, and JR grabbed him in for a DDT. And the look on his face, he's still holding the side of his head, man. That was shoot. But when he went down for the DDT, his eyes was glassy. He didn't know what he was doing.
Well, to be fair, his eyes was glassy before he got here.
Yeah, remnants of TJ Lightning. That's what TJ
Yep.
said when he hit me in the face with that belt. You know, that was something that somebody had asked me not too long ago about TJ and us having the ring, and I want to ask you, JR Rock. Is there a guy, you know, like Dusty always had it with Flair, you know, Flair always had it with Steamboat. Is there a guy that you just got into the ring with that you had worked with so often that you guys just went in with the good chemistry and just, you know, always made you feel good about the match when you came out of the match?
Oh, for sure. Two people come to the top of that list. Zodiac, John Strange.
I could definitely go with the Zodiac thing for sure.
La Familia.
Oh, God. Zodi, we talked about it earlier. You know, when these two cats get in the ring, you just don't know what the hell. It's not a match. It's a fight. And
You
it's
could
great.
see it from that video that we watched there where they were beating the shit out of each
Yeah.
other.
Oh, dude, it hurt to watch.
And John Strange, I mean, again, wow, what a crazy bastard. You know, him and Mattreya was at a bash one time. We had the bash
The arena.
at the arena. Yeah, when they dove off the top of the steps up there.
Hey, when I'm with John, we actually do some wrestling. Like, we've done pendulum power bombs. We've done tilt-a-whirl head scissors, all kinds of stuff. I actually get in there and wrestle instead of just beat on people.
I watched John Strange get knocked out one night.
Larry D. power bomb.
Macville.
Yeah, when we were out there to Macville and he powerbombed him off the top rope, man. Holy Moses. I thought Alicia was going to have a canary. I mean, you could just see it in his face. You know, you just see it. But again, it's just a testament to, you know, guys like yourself and Omega. He's one of the young guys coming up doing the same thing. John Strange didn't care. If you said you was going to do something and they thought it would look cool, let's do it. You know, let's do it. Whether it's him diving off the top of the steps at the arena on Mattreya or taking that, you know, that power bomb off the top buckle there from Larry D. And God, man, Larry drove him into the mat. What a night. His eyes was open, but nobody was home.
So, like, miss hearing about Bob Murdoch.
He's like that most of the time.
Oh, yeah, I seen Bob Murdoch come out, so I just, when it was him, I just didn't see no reason to even
Now business is about to pick up.
Oh, is it your match against
Yeah.
him? Look, you know what? Here's a guy, and I don't have heat with him. I just have issues sometimes when guys come out and they talk a lot of trash, but then they have to bow out because, you know, their titty hurts or their pussy hurts or whatever the hell may be.
That's right.
And, you know, to hell, man. Bob would come out and he'd swing that rope and shit in the ring and get everybody fired up. But then if things didn't go his way, man, he just turned into...
Hey, it's a rare sight right here. You seen the people cheer for me.
Yep.
He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Look, I was special guest referee that night. Him and Cody got into it out there in Georgetown.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Look, he tried. I didn't really have a lot of respect for him at the time, but I lost even more because he tried to Pearl Harbor Cody Matthews, and Cody just turned around and fucking lit him up, man.
Well, watch.
Who's that? Who's the?
That's Nikita Von Stroganoff.
Okay, I didn't know her.
She wasn't no good. That's
I can tell.
that's one of Jen's friends.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met her.
Nikita Von Strangle. She used to be Manslaughter's girlfriend. He's too old. You wouldn't know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rock's about to light him
Yeah,
up.
we're about to throw down here.
I mean, he kind of reminds me of Roman Shockley.
I'm about to throw down here.
Talk a lot of trash, but then you get punched and you just go home and turn into a keyboard sympathy thing,
Yep.
you know? Oh, I was in a match tonight and somebody punched me in the titty and it hurts. Well, you know, get out of wrestling, go to crocheting if you can't handle it, you know?
Or go to ballet because if you're hurting because
Feather
someone punches
punches.
that titty.
Feather punches.
You remember the Matador?
Oh yeah.
Him and I were in Tennessee one time, and so Bob and somebody was supposed to wrestle Frank and myself, and so Frank was having the baby, so he didn't come, and so the Matador was my partner, and it was Earl Kelly, Bob Murdoch, the Matador, and Scott Diamond, and so when Murdoch found out, because at first, you know, when Frank wasn't there, it was just going to be a 2-on-1. They was just going to beat me down, and then I was just going to get a DQ to retain the tag titles for SWF. And when the Matador showed up, man, it just pissed Bob off so bad that he tried to shoot on me. Well, of course, that wasn't going to go over. I mean, we had an issue, too, one time over there at NOW, and you and John said, well, you said, I'll just go out there and fuck him up. And John said, I just won't book him no more. But it was the same deal. He got mad because he wanted him and Earl to beat the daylights out of me, be all one-sided. And when the Matador became my partner and he tried that shit, Art kicked his ass inside and out, man.
He deserved it.
Yes, he did. Because he wasn't really about dancing with his partner. He was about dancing with himself. And, you know, that's where people get hurt.
People like that deserve to be shot on.
Well, he thought he was really great, but he only made it, 7 years? If that?
If that, yeah.
And then he stole somebody else's name to try to make a name for himself.
Exactly.
You know, I have more. I admire more somebody that goes out there and makes their reputation on their own bones.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
And you're supposed to take care of your opponent, not want to beat you out of them and shoot on them like that.
Boy, he pushed Cody into the corner that night and sucker punched him twice. And Cody's like, "What the hell?" Cody said, "Well, if we're gonna fight, we get out of the wrestling ring. We'll go out to the parking lot."
Damn
So when
straight.
Cody slid out, Bob tried to Pearl Harbor him from behind. Cody just turned around. By the time Cody got done, 3 or 4 hits, Bob was bleeding out his ear, his nose, his mouth.
Bob found out the hard way.
Oh, look at there. That's Big Al Steel, baby.
Yep.
Hey, regardless of the reputation I have, people love wrestling me for some reason.
Because there's believability, brother.
Ask Jay Ice. He'll tell you. Put me in the ring with him, I ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like your style would blend well with some lucha work. I think.
Ain't that Dale?
Yeah, it's Dale Bass.
It's Mickey.
That's Mickey Knuckles.
Yep. Mickey Knuckles, that's
And
still
anyway,
wrestling.
I think your style would blend very well with some lucha work. I think you and Mexichismo need to tear it up somewhere.
Sounds good to me. That's what the dysfunctional family was. Me and John Strange.
That would be great.
Hey, you might be too young to remember some of the matches me and him had when Jim Chadwick was booking Georgetown. We tore the house down with some stuff.
And you know, I never understood that. Jim would take over the book. We would have 125 people a week. As soon as he took over the book, Fallon would be like, okay, well, we're built back up. We can take the book back over. And then it'd go right back to 40, 50 people. The storylines. I mean, Jim, he could bring storylines in and make them, drag them out and make them interesting. You know, a lot of the problem, I think, with the UWF at the time, and again, no heat with anybody, but as soon as they would get something rolling, they changed it. They would just change the storyline in mid-stroke. And, you know, that's no good for nobody. I mean, people want to know where it's going to go, and you leave the fans hanging, the wrestlers hanging. I mean, it's just...
This just reminds me of how much I love Bobby Blade. Just completely unrelated to what we're watching right now. Just in general, UWF, Georgetown, Bobby Blade, period.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Well, this is Jim Chadwick and Mickey Knuckles and Al Steele against me.
We had Al Steele inside the studio a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, when I started training, I was in Al Steele's training class. We trained together.
Detroit's most
Yep.
wanted.
I love it. Yeah, Detroit's most wanted, Al Steele, man.
Ray had already been wrestling. Me and Al started the same year.
It's not just a word; it's a lifestyle. Prick.
Yeah. He. So we were in some locker room somewhere, I don't know, and we was ribbing each other, you know. And so he pulls this brand new shirt out of the bag, and he starts tearing the package off of it, and then he opens it up, and he's like, "Ha ha ha! Look at that, man!" And I said, and on the front of it, in big letters, it says "prick." And I said, "Oh yeah, that fits you fine." And then he turns it around and says, "It's not just a word; it's a lifestyle." And I said, "Man, I love that shirt." He threw it to me, and I still got it to this day. And every time I think about Al Steele, and you know, we send messages back and forth, I always say, "Hey, you big prick." And so, you know, it's just he was a guy, man. I don't care if you was feuding with him or not. He was a guy you couldn't help but like.
Oh, he's a great dude. I love Al. Him and Bear both great dudes.
We were talking about their manager one night. I could not remember his name. Was it Nick something? Or Nick was the one for the Pretty Boys. What was Al and Bear's manager?
Hey, Pretty Boy.
I know Jim managed them for a long time.
It wasn't Jim though.
Where at? In MWA?
At WCCW, they had.
I don't know who managed them down there.
There was a smaller, short, round guy, and it may have been even the same guy that did the Pretty Boys managing. But
I don't even remember that guy, honestly. Like, I've seen pictures, but I don't remember him.
I cannot remember his name to save life. Well, you know, a lot of those cats, they don't last long, you know.
Yeah.
But Al and Barry in there, you know, they're beating the hell out of everybody, and he wasn't in the match, but you know, we've done it a time or two. So when everybody's fired up and everything, they tag in the manager, right? Which he was not even in the match really, but
Uncle Buckeye.
they tag him, and the guy's like, "Yeah, man, I'm fired up. I'll get in here. I'm ready. Wait." And then I think it was Bear handed him an inhaler. And so he takes a big puff off the inhaler, and then he gets in to wrestle. He does one move, and he's got to get out because he needs the inhaler.
Hey, well, I was
Funny
in
stuff.
Mount Sterling. Al was really big and heavy then, probably almost 400 pounds.
Wow.
He was doing a gimmick where he was a light heavyweight champion.
Light heavyweight.
So they'd bring in a scale out, and they're making him weigh. So he takes the dial on the scale and glues it 200 pounds. So he puts it down. He steps on the scale, and the referee looks down.
200 pounds. Oh, Al, what a genius.
That's
you know,
honestly a genius.
when I first came to Kentucky, not as a manager, but as a wrestler, the first title I ever won was a deal with Al Snow. We had I think ATM was the Kentucky champion at WCCW at the time. And so we had Al in a match with him. And, of course, Al was semi-retired at the time. He started taking less bookings. But in that match, he beat ATM for the Kentucky title. And it just so happened that night that, excuse me, I had just won recently the general manager spot for 30 days. And so I didn't have the power to change any matches that were written before that date. But when he won that match that night, I told him, you know, look, any matches that have not been written, I can write them now for 30 days. And so as soon as he won that, you know, everybody went crazy. And, of course, us being the big bad guys in the cartel, I said, you know, that's not going to fly. I may not have been able to keep you from having that match, but what I can do is I can put you in a match right now against Scott Diamond. And so with him laughing, he turned into a big boot, went down 1, 2, 3, won my first title here in Kentucky from Al Snow. I don't think I'll ever forget Al Snow. He's one of those guys, you know.
Al Steele?
Or Al Steele. I'm sorry. Gosh, I said Al Snow.
Leave BTK Ed Gein out of this.
Yeah. Leave Ed Gein out of this. But, yeah, Al Steele, you never. He's one of those guys you just won't never forget. You know, whether you wrestled against him, with him, or whatever. He leaves an impression on anybody he touches. He's a Catholic priest. Oh,
How you doing? Do y'all remember L.J. Jameson by chance?
L.J. Jameson out of Dayton, Ohio, along with the Pretty Boys.
I remember being very fond of him as a young child. His hair was very amusing to me.
Well, both of you were about the same size.
Oh,
You know, JR, is there anything that you want to put out there for the people? I know I see Johnny looking. We're almost out of time here.
It's our boy Andy chimed in. He said, "Y'all have now been on 2 hours and a half."
Hell,
I guess we
that
better
says
start
3
wrapping it
hours.
up.
That
Right.
says 3 hours.
Right?
Don't you deprive me of my
Exactly.
Right. Well, Andy, we know that JR was in the studio and you and Sean were afraid, but don't worry, we're going to wrap it up. We want to give a shout out to you. We appreciate you allowing us to have this format. Of course, even if you didn't allow us, we were taking over anyway.
Damn straight.
You know, it was going to be the Diamond Exchange with JR Rock tonight, whether you were here or not. But we appreciate you giving us that foundation, and we also appreciate you and Sean going ahead and stepping up out of here so that we didn't have to get the carpet all bloody or anything.
That's right.
But again, let's throw it right back over. You know, we've talked about a lot of stuff tonight, JR. Just I want to throw the ballpark to you for the next 5-10 minutes and just tell the fans anything that you want to talk about.
5-10 minutes. Do I look like Bobby Blade? Do I like how I'm going to talk that long?
4.5 hours.
Bobby
huh?
Blade talked for 4.5 hours. This guy,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just his warm up.
And he likes to throw in 13 minutes after.
That's right.
No, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun tonight, and everybody that called in, I appreciate that too. It's been great.
Well, you know, I couldn't ask for us to. Oh, here we go. We've got
Someone's
somebody calling in.
at the
One
last
more.
minute. Hello?
Hello, this is Hunter from New York, formerly of Washington, and I have a question for Scott Diamond.
All right, Hunter. Thanks for listening in here. Yeah, if you got a question, man, fire away. You say you're from New York?
I am from New York, and I've just come back from Washington State. My question for you was, what would you say is the best way to start to become a professional wrestler?
Dedicate yourself to putting in the work because it's not easy. If you want to be a part of professional wrestling, it's just something that's inside of you that you have to do a little soul searching and make sure that it is right for you. And if you think that it is right for you and you think that you have the dedication and desire, then I would say start as soon as you hang up the phone, start working on your cardio, start working on your physicality, you know, your terms. Just start getting yourself in the best physical and mental conditioning that you can have, because if you don't have it, you'll never make it. You know, I a lot of times I compare the Marine Corps, which I'm a decorated Marine, I compare that to the wrestling business, and it's because the Marine Corps, you have to have that desire, you have to have that dedication, and you have to have that down deep inside of you. And it's the same thing with professional wrestling. It's not easy. The rewards are great, but the trail is a hard one. You have to work very hard, and if you work hard, then you can be successful in this. But it starts with getting your mind and your body right.
That's right.
You know, we've got
That
20.
sounds amazing to me.
Well, we appreciate you, you know, and we've got another gentleman sitting here on the dais with us, you know, JR Rock, 23-year veteran. He's got a lot of knowledge, too, if there's any questions that you would like to ask from him.
One thing I would say is make sure you get with the right people to teach you the craft, because if you get with people who don't know what they're doing, they're going to teach you wrong, and it's going to be a bad start for you. So just make sure you get with the right people when you start out.
Right, very much so.
Right on.
Hey,
Thank you guys for...
We thank you for calling in. We appreciate our listeners. You know, we're going out worldwide. And, you know, at any time you see this up, make sure you call in. We're here to help you understand our business. And if you have that desire, to help you get into the business that we love so much. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
All right, JR. So, again, you know, tonight was supposed to be all about you. I know we've been all over the place and stuff, but talk to these fans out here. Not only fans, and I'm saying this, I'm one of these guys. There is a lot of wrestlers, too, out there that it's one of two ways. They either hate you or they love you. Of course, I'm one that loves you. Tell some of these guys, not only the new guys coming in, but the young guys that are already in, give them a little advice on how, what JR Rock thinks will help them be successful in this business.
You got to love this business. You got to pay respect to the vets because they're the ones going to help you in this business. Because coming up, like it or not, I might be an old dinosaur, but I got the respect of every company, every door I walk in this business. So
right on.
If you disrespect me, and I put in a word to a guy I know, he's going to put in a word to another guy that I know, you're not going to get on bookings nowhere.
That's exactly right.
You just got to do things the right way.
Do it the right way, as JR said, get in with the right group of people, do your homework. When you look up a dojo or a training facility, do your homework. Check those people out because you're going to pay them a lot of money to teach you a great craft, and you want to be sure that those people have the ability to teach you in the correct manner.
Yeah, you can just go to several different independent shows, watch them, evaluate. Does this show have good matches? This one's got bad matches. Just use common sense. Pick out the show that's got the better talent. And just watching as a fan that you'd like to see. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be Joe Schmo.
Exactly.
Right on. Great advice, I think. Again, for anybody wanting to come into the business or young people that are already in this business, great advice. Listen to the veterans, like JR said. Be respectful because respect will get you a lot further than disrespect. And it'll get you to where people will want to teach you the correct way. If you come in and you don't respect the vets, you don't respect the business, guess what? They're not going to respect you back, and then you're never going to be successful in this because ain't nobody going to care about you because you don't care about the business that we all love.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Damn
And one
straight.
thing, when you're out there in front of the people, you've got to make sure you're either loved or hated. You don't want to be that guy stuck in the middle nobody gives a damn about
Right on.
because they're not going to remember you.
Right.
They're going to remember the guy that they wanted to cheer for or the guy they wanted to boo.
Right.
Because
Got
everywhere I
another
go,
one.
I'm going to get booed as soon as my music hits.
Hello?
Already.
Hey, what's up? This is Dean O'Neill.
Dean
guys?
O'Neill.
I think we got to wrap it up. I'm sorry.
Well, Dean,
Yeah, I know
thank
you
you for
guys have been
calling.
on for a while.
Thank
I know
you
you
for
guys
calling the
have-
Diamond Exchange.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime you guys are on there, I always
That's
got to
right.
tune in.
Well, Dean, as a young man training yourself under the tutelage of Scott Diamond and JR Rock, is there anything that you want to ask JR Rock? I know you had the opportunity. You know him, you've met him, you've trained a little bit with him. Is there anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is there anything that you would like
Matter of
to?
fact, that's exactly why I called. So, JR, I know you're in the middle of your little retirement, or not retirement, but
Oh, yeah, it's retirement
And
tour.
it's not little.
It's retirement
that's
tour.
what it was. I couldn't get the name of it for a second. Okay, so how many more matches do you plan on having? And is there an ideal last match opponent that you would like to have?
Well, I already had that against Zodiac at the Bash, but I'm going to keep taking bookings till the end of the year, so however many shows I'm on and how many matches I wrestle.
That's
That
right.
ain't-
and,
that ain't no magic number because a lot of times I'm out there 3-4 times a night at shows.
yeah. JR's the marathon man. Let me tell you what.
Single to a tag to a 6-man to a battle royal,
It's
baby.
SWF all over.
Yeah.
We were talking about Captain. Remember, we came out and we did the singles, then we did the tag, then the 6-man, and then the battle royal.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't have no set number, Dean.
Wow.
You want to be a part of that list? I mean, I can pencil you in for ass whooping anytime you're ready.
It sounds like he wants to be part of that list.
It'd be a nice little welcome to the professional wrestling business moment for me.
All right, we can make that happen.
I'll tell you what, Dean O'Neill is your trainer. If you want JR Rock is a brother of mine, been a long, long time. I will make that happen, brother. And I'll tell you this, even though you're going to get your ass whipped, it will definitely be a learning experience. I guarantee you. You will remember that the rest of your career.
Yeah, you will learn not to step in the ring with JR Rock ever again.
It is a learning experience. It is a learning experience. I'll tell you. 'Cause we've done a lot together. And I'm sure, I mean, JR's always obliged. He's always obliged to pass on some knowledge as he's doing to Johnny Suede right here
Now
with
look
that
at this.
16-foot
He
leather
just
belt.
beat the shit out of him with that.
As of right now, Dean, I've probably got about 25 shows booked so far on my card, maybe 30, something like that.
So you know that's going to triple because we still got a lot of the year to go.
I'm telling you, there are some luchadors that have been saying some scandalous things about Joe.
I'm ready. I'm ready whenever they're ready. I've got, I want to say 20 plus dates for the Fair Tour, so that's 1 to 2 matches a night for that. Then I've got some Elite Pro shows popped up, a couple of spot shows in Indiana and here in Kentucky, so close to 30 already on the card for the year.
That's
nice.
triple.
Yeah, and you know, JR mentioned it, so let's go ahead and put that over. April the 8th at the Thornsburg, Thornhill, is it? Thornhill Education Center there in Frankfurt. Elite Wrestling Alliance makes its debut.
The Rumble Royale.
You know,
Also, Scott, April 15th in Bergen, Kentucky at the high school. USWF will be there.
It's another great company here in the state of Kentucky, USWF, ran by Rated X, and they're going to be, where is it? Franklin County High School?
Bergen.
In Bergen here at the Bergen High School. What's the date again, JR?
April 15th.
April 15th. So you've got it right there. There's a couple of great matches already for the month of April.
And then once you're done with that week, April 22nd, you can come out and see an absolute homicide, a double homicide at that. And you know, what would be a real power play here? Let's see, we've got Austin Diamond, the undefeated icon. We've got Scott Diamond, the Don, the Godfather, the man, the myth, the legend. We've got J.R. Rock, the madman from Venice Mountain. There's 3 great names right there. You know, the BMWO, baby, the brutal country men themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
The wrong turn, incestuous Hicks. They, too, run in numbers. You know, their brother uncles always aren't far behind them on account of they're looking for their next meal. And they all share 4 teeth.
That's
so with
right.
that being said, there's, 4 or 5 of them. You know, their family tree goes straight up. It's actually a wreath, I heard. But at any rate, wouldn't it be a funny little party trick if maybe we showed up with a few other old friends?
I'm telling you, when you get the Diamond Cartel together, you never know who's going to show up, brother.
You never know.
You know, Big Frank might be flying in from Vegas, but you never know. And I'm telling you, I'm going on out right here, right now. You know, go to the fairs, USWF. I mean, all these great companies here.
Oh.
If you see JR Rock on the marquee, check it out.
Let me make another quick plug. March 18th, Caverna Elementary School. Come see J.R. Rock get put into UCW Hall of Fame.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
That's right. UCW, another great organization here in Kentucky.
Terry England, shout out to you.
Headlined by Terry England. Much love to Terry, one of the greatest
Shout out
promoters.
to you, Terry England.
You know, I don't want Terry to feel left out. I know we already have a lot of star power here, and I don't want to undermine any of you guys. I've got nothing but respect for all you guys, but Terry will be here shortly.
Yep,
Yeah,
here it comes.
yeah,
Here it comes.
Terry, Austin threw a dime on the table. It's waiting for you, brother. You get that
That's
big
right,
rig
Terry.
turned around and drive it on over here and get that. But, again, you know, we're about to wrap up here, so we want to thank JR Rock for being with us. And if there's some things that you'd like to say before we go.
Before we go, I've got to address one issue about you and the cartel.
Oh, God, don't do the
Why-
George
Him,
Test
maybe
to me.
not.
Why did you ever put that man in a cartel shirt? That's your last inductee. That's your
No,
legacy.
No.
Why did you put that man
No.
in a shirt? I've got to know.
I had to set that straight. You know, I did not put him, nor was he ever a part of the Diamond Cartel. You know, we felt sorry, which very rarely ever happens. We felt sorry for him, and we tried to help him out a little bit, but he just couldn't handle the pressure. But no, to put it out there, he was never part of the Diamond Cartel. He could never carry our bags, but he was always a nice punching bag when we needed
That's
him.
I mean,
sure.
at least Dino laced my boots. Johnny couldn't do that.
Hey,
Exactly.
I had to put him on a strap so he couldn't get away, so I could use him for a punching bag.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting really bad here. We'll have to get him in studio one day just to give him back the money that we beat him out of. But, you know, again, we want to thank everybody who called. You know, we had some calls from New York. We had some calls from Philadelphia, you know, all over the state of Kentucky and things. We want to thank everybody for coming in and seeing the Diamond Exchange with Scott Diamond with my special guest,
Featherlight.
Austin Diamond and JR Rock.
Shoot
And we want to
that
thank our
Featherlight.
producer, my main man, Johnny Lee.
Appreciate you.
Hey, look,
pimpin', baby. Stay
he's
pimpin'.
the pimp, Daddy. Let me tell you right here, Johnny Lee. He's the one that makes everything happen here at the Diamond Exchange. And we want to thank him. We want to thank everyone that called in. And from now on, when you want to see a good show, you got a great producer right here. Look at Scott Diamond. You have a great host. And I think for the next 3 months, the only guests we're going to need is J.R. Rock and Austin
You know
Diamond.
what? I like
because
this.
the numbers are through the roof tonight, Daddy. People love the Diamond Exchange, and it just went past the moon, and we left Andy's podcast, Nice Guy Andy podcast, at the moon, and the Diamond Exchange gone even above that. So we want to thank everybody that called in. We want to thank JR for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. And folks, if you ever see JR Rock on the marquee, you see the Diamond Cartel on the marquee, lay your money down, because believe you me, somebody's going to get their ass whipped.
You damn straight.
And that's the simple truth.
And next time that we get you on, we'd like to see us at that Beetlejuice.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I'll bring the Beetlejuice suit out. You got it.
I love that. That's just
Man, I love seeing people talk in the ring. Did you see what I just saw?
Well,
Please, JR,
what
end
I
the
just
match.
seen was JR kill a guy.
Please,
Yes,
JR,
and he kills him
stop
so bad.
beating
He's
me
laying
up.
on the mat waiting for somebody to give him oxygen, blood.
Oh, God.
And that's Johnny Suede, too, Mr. Dark himself.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's dark because his eyes just got put out by
He got
J.R.
knocked
Rock.
the fuck out.
That's right. His grandmama gave him that chain. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up here for Scott Diamond, J.R.
That's
Rock,
right.
Austin Diamond, and the
Ain't-
fabulous Johnny Lee. If you see the marquee, you see the cartel on the marquee, lay your money down because you're going to have a hell of a night.
Any last words,
Peace.
Austin?
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I need no more. That's the way it is, the way it will be, and the way it's always been. Thank you very much.
And he is a god among men.
Let me hear you.
Yeah.
Nice Guy Andy podcast.
We got
I love it, smart man. You always think it.
Records Radio.